Chapter 2287, Killing Intent. Chapter 2287, Killing Intent indeed. Yurong was something that he had thought of all means to offer to the Zhao family. He wanted the Zhao family to grant him a marriage. Once Yurong became the princess consort, he would have a chance of becoming the teacher of the kingdom. State Grandmaster. This position was incomparably lofty, an existence that was below one person and above everyone else. He had limitless medicinal pill resources, and he could also cultivate the imperial qi of Zhao. How honorable was this identity! Therefore, for the matters of the Zhao family, it could be said that he was doing his best. Even if Zhao Etian was unable to ask him to do so, he would do his best to please her. He wanted to jump out of Xianyu sect. Zhao Etian had suffered so many losses in the Xianyu sect. The Zhao family must be extremely dissatisfied with him. Moreover, he was also guessing why Yurong had returned to the Xianyu sect so early. Something must have happened to the Divine Kingdom, so he had to make preparations. Even if Yurong died, as long as he held on to Zhao Etian, he would have the chance to jump out of Xianyu sect. Even if he couldn't become Zhao Guo's teacher, he could still cultivate royal qi. With the imperial family as a backup, he could concentrate on cultivating the way of alchemy. Once he mastered it, not to mention the Zhao family, even if it was any sect in Zhenwu continent, the country would curry favor with him. The Zhao family would become his springboard. Now, a small new disciple actually dared to call him a dog of the Zhao family. This kind of insult, the anger in his heart was like a volcanic eruption. Everyone present could feel the anger from Yi Changfeng's body. Cold, a killing intent. At the same time, everyone was worried for Xiao Dai. Thin Monkey said again, "Big sister, stop it, stop it." He did not understand why Xiao Dai would say these words at this time. How was this any different from courting death? He had openly insulted the great elder. This was a serious crime. Therefore, no one understood. However, Xiao Dai, did not feel the slightest amount of fear. The one she was thinking of was Long Fei, and this was the only method she could think of to delay Yi Changfeng. If she did not do this, Yi Changfeng would have quickly ordered his secret world to be sealed. In that case, Long Fei and Yurong would be trapped inside the secret world and die. She was a silly woman. "You're courting death." Yi Changfeng was furious. The killing intent that erupted from his body was extremely cold, as if his scars had been opened. He took a step forward. Buzz! The ground shook slightly as a golden wave of light shot out. It landed in front of Xiao Dai. Yi Changfeng stared at Xiao Dai, his entire body releasing killing intent, his right hand forming a palm. Thin Monkey immediately blocked the attack and shouted, "Big sister, run!" Bam! Yi Changfeng's palm fell. Thin Monkey flew dozens of meters before heavily crashing into the ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood. He was unconscious, and it was unknown whether he was dead or alive. Xiao Dai still stood there, unmoving. Yuan Shan said solemnly, "Senior brother Yin, why bother with the younger generation?" Finished. Yuan Shan's body slowly descended to Xiao Dai's side. Yi Changfeng bellowed, "You want to oppose me too?" Yuan Shan said, "There are so many disciples present. Why must you do this? Even if they're wrong, the law enforcement hall can handle it. You are an elder of the Pill Pavilion after all, so you don't have the authority to enforce the law." Yi Changfeng said as he stared heavily at Yuan Shan, "The one scolding you is not you. If you know that you can make sarcastic remarks, then if I don't kill her today, then where would I, Yi Changfeng, be able to save my face?" He was going to make an example of this. Otherwise, where would his prestige lie? How would others view him in the future? How could he stay in the Xianyu sect? Yuan Shan immediately looked toward Xiao Dai and said, "Xiao Dai, quickly apologize to Elder Yi." Apologize? Useless. You just heard it. The great clan elder of Xianyu sect was just told that the Zhao family has a dog. Is apologizing enough to make up for that? Yi Changfeng bellowed. Xiao Dai said slightly, "I'm not wrong. From the very beginning you sided with Zhao Etian, helping him cheat and giving him pills to cultivate. If you weren't a dog raised by the Zhao family, how would you have obeyed? Zhao Etian is not your father." Yi Changfeng was so angry that smoke was coming out from his head. Yuan Shan also heavily shouted. Xiao Dai, shut your mouth. Yi Changfeng immediately went berserk, his palm striking toward Xiao Dai. Yuan Shan's expression tensed. His heart was hesitating. Should he block this palm? Should I help? It was also because of the moment of hesitation that Yi Changfeng struck out with his palm. Right now, even if he wanted to block, it was already too late. Moo! It was the sound of a cow howling. A green shadow suddenly dashed out, and the barbarian cow dashed out. It stood in front of Xiao Dai, blocking his way. Bam! A palm slammed onto the body of the azure ox, causing its expression to darken as an expression of agony appeared on its face. Xiao Dai was startled. Danny, why are you here? When Xiao Dai was in danger, the water buffalo naturally sensed it and also quickly rushed down the hill towards him. Another beast has arrived, Yi Changfeng bellowed, his eyes staring at the big green bull. Amongst the crowd, Zhao Etien's face turned sinister and immediately shouted, Kill the cow! Kill him! The great cyan cow turned around abruptly, staring at Yi Changfeng, and spoke in human language. Who dares to touch her? As soon as his voice faded, the entire audience was stunned. Ox can talk. That was awesome. He can speak human language. Oh my god, even a level 9 demon beast can't speak human language. He actually can speak human language. Was it an illusion? The ox could speak, and many people were shocked. Zhao Etian was even more dumbstruck, because at this time, the great water ox was staring straight at him. His heart turned cold, and he felt a kind of fear, as if it was being controlled by Qing Miao. Yi Changfeng knew from the beginning that the cyan cow could speak, so he was not shocked. A beast is still a beast after all. Even if they can speak, they are still animals. Yi Changfeng stared at the water buffalo, the fury on his body not diminishing by even a little. Xiao Dai said anxiously, Danny, why are you here? Where's my father? Is my father here yet? Now, as long as her father was here, Yi Changfeng wouldn't dare to act rashly. Although she was not clear about her father's cultivation level, Yi Changfeng had never dared to move against him, and it was also because he was afraid of her father. The green ox didn't say anything. Gui Qingshan was currently not in the Xianyu sect. He went off to do something else. Moreover, he never thought that something would happen to the Xianyu secret territory. He thought that since Yurong was in the sect, even if it was Zhao Etian, he would still have scruples if he acted presumptuously. Furthermore, Long Fei was still by his side, so he too went out. Xiao Dai looked at him but did not say a word. His eyes grew cold as he asked, Is father not here? Azure Ox immediately said, The old man will be here soon. Humph, are you trying to scare me? Just a mere Gui Qingshan. What can he do? Yi Changfeng said coldly. Even if he can stop me, can he block the entire Xinyu sect? I can forgive you for your heinous crime of publicly insulting me, but you blocked the closing of the secret world, bringing danger to the Xinyu sect. You wanted to destroy the Xinyu sect in one fell swoop, so you were making the entire sect your enemy. I suspect that you are someone from the magic tribe. Someone come. Kill them all. Chapter 2288, First Rank of the Grand Mist Ranking. Chapter 2288, First Rank of the Grand Mist Ranking in the Xianyu Secret Territory. The green-haired man with a golden body was killed. A stream of energy surged into the exit as the door opened. At the same time, opposite the exit, another door appeared. A floating bridge slowly appeared. Long Fei was secretly shocked. This is not the location of the tomb. This is probably only the first level of the tomb. I knew it. Mount Desolation is a tomb. Xinyu Secret Territory is the tomb's entrance. How can this place be the location of a coffin? But Long Fei's gaze tensed up. The green-haired, golden-bodied zombies were too savage. If the first level was already so powerful, then what about the next? What kind of monsters would he encounter? Long Fei was not confident. Even though he currently had an unlimited true qi, he only had 20 points of arrogant god energy value right now. If he wanted to clear the level, he had to rely on arrogant god energy value. Without it, killing these ferocious bosses would be impossible. His current cultivation level was too low. Yurong did not know where this place was and could not help but ask. Where does this door lead to? The dark unicorn looked at Long Fei. Long Fei had promised to help him unravel the seal, and right now, he was following Long Fei's lead. If Long Fei didn't say it, he naturally wouldn't say it either. Long Fei's expression was solemn, and he said, "Do you want to know?" Eorong's eyes turned cold. Long Fei immediately replied, "About that, I don't know either, but I'm sure it's extremely dangerous inside. With your current cultivation level, it's basically useless." Eorong's expression changed again and said, "My cultivation is useless as long as your cultivation is useful." He blinked, as if teasing. However, to Long Fei, this was not a good sign. Long Fei said, "I'm just an escalated blood stage. I can't compare to you. You can't even, how can I do that, right?" Eorong said in satisfaction, "That's more like it. Don't think that I don't know how you killed the green-haired zombie just now. It wasn't your strength at all." Long Fei complimented, "It's sharp. You can tell at a glance. If I could have killed the green-haired zombie, I would have killed it a long time ago." Eorong said, "Let's not talk about this. What do we do now?" She had a feeling in her heart that as Long Fei was here, she would feel very safe. This feeling was very special. She couldn't explain it herself. Although Long Fei's cultivation was not strong, he could deal with any danger he faced. This was the case for the great demon beast, and it was the same for the great demon beast just now. This man was very mysterious. It was also very powerful. Right now, she especially wanted to know everything about Long Fei. She wanted to know what kind of secret he was hiding. Long Fei thought for a moment, then said, "Let's go out first." At this moment, Long Fei did not know about what happened in Secret World, and even more so, did not know that Eorong risked her life to enter Secret World to save him. Even if it was the Zhan Wu realm S, they would not dare to rashly enter, but Eorong did not think too much about it. Eorong looked at the big door, then looked at Long Fei, and said, "Are you lying to me?" "Huh?" Long Fei said, "Why would I lie to you?" Eorong said, "You tricked me out, and then you went in by yourself." Behind that door, were there any divine weapons or holy plies? She suspected that Long Fei knew what was hidden inside. The reason he didn't go in was because he didn't want to bring her along. Long Fei said, "You truly have a lot of ideas." "Right, you were right. There are piles of divine weapons inside, and there are even various holy ply. You should quickly go in. Before you go in again, I want to ask you if you have any last words or later matters to settle. Rest assured, I will do my best to help you after you enter." Eorong said, "You're courting death." Long Fei stared at her and said, "The ones who are courting death are you. The monsters we meet in the first floor are all so powerful, you are simply no match for them. You don't even know how you died." Eorong immediately said, "Seems like this is not just the first floor. You must know where this is. Speak." His eyes turned cold. It immediately became cold and gloomy. Two eyes were staring at Long Fei, as though they wanted to swallow him whole. "Holy *T. Long Fei muttered, "It's impossible to guard against." And then, Long Fei explained to Eorong in a simple manner. Eorong's heart flipped, and he was extremely shocked, but he maintained his composure on the surface. He pretended to be a new kid and asked, "You said this is the necropolis of the Netherworm?" Long Fei said, "I didn't say it, he did. I don't think this is the tomb of the Ming clan's #1 martial immortal. If I were to become the Ming clan's #1 martial immortal, I would definitely not let an evil being like the zombie guard the grave. No matter what, I would need to get one of those Hades, whether it was at the beginning or now." This large tomb didn't even give Long Fei the feeling of being the tomb of the #1 war god in Ming clan. It looked more like the tomb of some evil creature. Otherwise, it would also not give birth to an evil creature like the green-furred, golden-bodied zombie. However, this can only be proved by going deeper. Eorong said, "What King Yin, Oxhead, and Horseface, and the black and white impermanence? I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe the Lord Ming Long has his own thoughts. You are not the #1 martial immortal of the Ming clan. You don't understand. He was once #1 on the Grand Mist ranking." In Eorong's eyes, her voice carried all kinds of reverence, admiration, and adoration. Long Fei did not pay any attention to him and grinned. All right, all right, all right, you understand. You know what's going on? You can leave now. He's lying underneath right now. Wait until you obtain his inheritance of power. You will be the #1 war god of the Ming clan. Finished. Long Fei could not be bothered as he walked towards the exit. He was currently at the 8th grade of blood refinement, and with the infinite true qi, he should be able to deal with qi refining cultivators. The Xinyu Four Swords wanted to kill him. Now, it was his turn to take revenge. F***CK. It's not too late for a gentleman to take revenge. I will never take revenge overnight. The Xinyu Four Swords, right? I want you to become the 4 devils of Mystery Moon. Long Fei was very angry in his heart. He really nearly died in their hands at that time. It's upgraded now. You should be able to deal with the 4 of them. Yurong looked at the door that led to the next floor and muttered, "Is this really the Lord Minglong's tomb?" Lord Minglong, Ming Clan's #1 war god. If the #1 person on the Grand Mist ranking can obtain his inheritance, then the Ming clan will have a chance to rise up once again. He pondered for a moment. Yurong anxiously followed. "Kid, you won't sneak in by yourself, will you?" "What the F***CK? I still want to live for a few more years." "When are you going in?" "Not yet." "Can you bring me in?" "No way." "What did you say?" "Yes, I said no problem." "That's more like it." Long Fei walked out of the hall and saw the mess inside the secret world. His heart tensed up. What happened? Yurong rolled her eyes at him and said, "Isn't it all because of you?" Long Fei asked, "What about Xiao Dai and the rest?" Yurong said, "They are outside but now." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei then ran out in a hurry. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2289. Long Fei arrived. Chapter 2289. Long Fei arrived. What are you waiting for? Attack! Yichang Feng shouted. The Xinyu Four Swords quickly rushed forward, its long sword aimed straight for Xiao Dai. "I want to see who dares." "Bastard, do you want to go to heaven?" The qi on Yi Changfeng's body burst forth. A strong pressure pressed on him, with his palms moving, his afterimage superimposed. Without waiting for the green ox to charge, his palm crushed down like a huge rock. Bam! The palm struck down. The azure ox did not dodge. Instead, it blocked the attack. Moo! Letting out a painful scream, the green ox body staggered backwards, but it was still tenaciously protecting Xiao Dai. Xiao Dai had an extraordinary significance to him. They had walked out of the wilderness together and grown up together. The two of them were like family. Seeing that Qing Niu was injured, Xiao Dai also asked, "The Shui Niu, are you all right?" Green Ox steadied his body and said, "It's okay, I won't let anyone bully you." Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Yi Changfeng made his move again and said, "You have to have the qualifications to protect others." Boom! Yet another palm strike descended. Qing Niu's body sank as blood gushed out from his mouth. His entire body was in incomparable pain, and he could no longer hold on as his body began to tremble uncontrollably. Bam! After holding on for a few seconds, the green ox's body fell to the ground. It breathed heavily and shouted, "My boss will not let you go, just you wait." Yi Changfeng snorted, "Humph." He did not look at Qing Niu anymore as he stared at Xiao Dai and said, "I want to see who dares to stand up for you now." Large Chunk, Dizziness dead, Thin Monkey was unconscious. The black scale carving was heavily injured and could not even stand up. It's the same with water buffaloes these days. At this moment, no one stood up for Xiao Dai, and no one dared to stand up for him either. What she said was too excessive, adding her temper. Even Yuan Shan didn't know how to explain himself. Many people around looked at Xiao Dai and started to sneer. "Serves you right. Offending the great elder in public? Isn't that courting death?" "Yeah, it's all self-inflicted. I guess she's a moron. I'm afraid I can't take it. I must be tired of living." Ha! Many people began to discuss the matter, and they all had cold expressions, as though they were watching a play. Zhao Yiqian sneered coldly and said, "Great elder, don't be too seriously injured. She's a woman that I have my eyes on. If you don't accompany me for a few nights, I won't let her die so easily." "Ha! Slut, this is the result of offending me." "Ha ha ha! To Zhao Yiqian, Today was just too great. There was a high chance that Long Fei, who was trapped in the secret world, was dead. The green ox that scared him to the point of wetting his pants was also crippled. Now, this Xiao Dai, who was looking more and more lively, would become a plaything under his crotch tonight. All this excited him too much. He was very satisfied with Yi Changfeng as well. He was extremely dissatisfied with his previous two failures, and now, to be able to come back with revenge in one fell swoop, was one word: great. Yi Changfeng smiled slightly and said, Xian Yu Four Swords, did you hear that? The Xian Yu Four Swords sneered. Understood. Yi Changfeng said, do it. Xiao Dai's brows tightened. He glanced at the secret world's gate behind him, and his heart trembled, muttering to himself, Along, I'm sorry, I didn't protect you properly. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have pulled you into the Xian Yu sect back then, now. She blamed herself. She had once swore to be responsible to Long Fei. However, there were several times where it was Long Fei who had saved her, and she wanted to do something for Long Fei, trying to delay him as much as possible. She couldn't drag it on any longer. However, she would drag it out no matter what. Even if he died, he wouldn't let a playboy prince like Zhao Etian sully his body. Immediately, Xiao Dai's eyes turned sinister, and he entered his battle state. The Xian Yu Four Swords sneered and said, Little junior sister, I advise you to obediently surrender. Otherwise, don't blame us for ruthlessly destroying you. Ha ha! The four of them laughed at the same time. Yuan Shan could not bear to see this any longer, and said, Senior Brother Yin, wait for young Sect Master to come out first. Otherwise, we'll just wait for Clan Elder Gui to return. She is, after all, an elder's daughter, you know. Yi Changfeng did not give any face at all, and shouted loudly. Did you hear what she said just now? If it was you, how could you not be angry? And then, Yi Changfeng shouted again, do it. His voice was filled with rage. The Xian Yu Four Swords also did not delay any further, and started to attack Xiao Dai at the same time. At this moment, a voice came out from the Xian Yu's secret territory. Who dares? Before he finished speaking, Yi Changfeng's face secretly shook. He was too familiar with this voice. Long Fei's voice. Xiao Dai's expression was also overjoyed. Yuan Shan's eyes flashed with a bright light and said, Good kid, you're still alive. Yi Changfeng's pupils anxiously shrank. At this time, he couldn't care less and immediately ordered, Attack, kill. At the same time, his figure was like lightning as he quickly rushed out. He wanted to seal the secret world's exit. This brat was still alive, which meant that Yurong could also be alive. If they knew that he had injured the black scale carving, they would definitely not let him off lightly. One doesn't do two things. If he didn't do it, then he had to do it to the limit. As long as he sealed the exit of the secret world, Long Fei and Yurong would not be able to come out. With his status as the great elder of the Pill Pavilion and the deterrence of the Zhao family, controlling the Xian Yu sect would not be too difficult. Moreover, as long as a few days passed, the army garrisoned in the southern palace could enter the Xian Yu sect. Then the situation would be set, and even if Lu Xian came out of seclusion, it would be useless. Yi Changfeng made a prompt decision. Zhao Yiqian also shouted, Close the secret world's exit. Don't let that dog out. At the critical moment, Xiao Dai turned and rushed out. The Xian Yu Four Swords also knew that they definitely could not let Xiao Dai stop the Great Elder at this time. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk, sword intent crushed down. Xiao Dai was instantly trapped in a dangerous situation. Her entire body was surrounded by the attacks of the Xian Yu Four Swords. As long as she took half a step forward, she would immediately be injured. She didn't care. Chua! A sword pierced through his chest. A sword pierced through his arm. Blood gushed out. Zhao Etian shouted, You are seeking death. Didn't I tell you not to hurt her? You don't want to live anymore? At this moment, Yuan Shan's body slightly moved and said faintly, Elder, everyone is alive. Why did you still close the secret world? Yi Changfeng didn't care that much, as he sent a huge palm strike straight at Yuan Shan. Mind your own business. Bam! Yuan Shan didn't think that Yi Changfeng would attack him. For a moment, he He was caught off guard and continuously retreated in order to dodge the attack. However, in this split second, Yi Changfeng landed at the exit of Secret World. The corner of his mouth revealed a pleased cold smile, and said with a sinister smile, "Die inside. Ha ha ha." Chapter 290, One Sword Break. Chapter 290, One Sword Break, huh? As long as he gently pulled the door latch, the mechanism would fall and the secret world would be shut down. Even if they wanted to restart the activation, several elders would need to activate their true essence at the same time. Yi Changfeng knew the disciples of Xianyu sect had to rely on his medicinal pellets. The same goes for the elders. Controlling the pills was equivalent to controlling the Ming men of these people. Without the elders' guild foolishly going against him, with the secret world closed, he had plenty of time to clean up the elders that went against him. Everything was decided at this moment. Seeing the voice that was getting closer and closer to him from the secret world, Yi Changfeng laughed complacently. "You dogs, stay inside and die." "Ha ha!" He pulled the trigger with one hand. The door slammed. Xiao Dai shouted loudly along. Swoosh, swoosh. She took another step forward, and her body was once again struck by a sword. Zhao Yiqian jumped up and scolded loudly. "Are you looking to die? How can you become my plaything after getting injured like this?" Looking at Long Fei, who was inside the secret world, Zhao Yiqian laughed excitedly again. "Ha ha! You dog! Dead trash! Are you trying to act cocky with me again? Ha ha! Are you powerful? Are you that awesome? But can you play against Lousy? Tonight, Lousy will ride this little bitch under my crotch, huh? Too excited. All the grudges will be avenged." Yu Wanshan rushed forward again, but it was too late. The vault door sank and could no longer be pulled back. Yi Changfeng also laughed complacently. "Ha ha! Ha ha!" The Xinyu Four Swords also became proud of itself. Many of the elders revealed a smile. Even if some of them didn't want to smile, they would still force themselves to smile at this time, because they understood very well in their hearts. From now on, the Xianyu sect leaders would probably switch. Yi Changfeng's eyes lit up as he thought happily in his heart. Even if I don't become a teacher, to be able to become the sect master of a Xianyu sect, isn't that a beautiful thing? Ha! With the Zhao family support, even if Lu Xian comes out of seclusion, what can he do to me? Ha ha ha! Yi Changfeng was incomparably pleased with himself, and had forgotten himself. Just as he was feeling complacent, in the middle of secret world, an iron sword suddenly flew out. The sword flashed like lightning. In addition, the sky sword seemed to have sensed danger as strange lights emitted out from it. However, very slightly, no one noticed it, not even Long Fei himself. In this world, there was only one person who could sense the strange light coming from Sky Sword. Long Zhanting, Dragon Abyss Dungeon. Long Zhanting looked at the dark sky with both eyes and became excited. The first level of the Sky Sword's forbidden technique is about to be broken. It's only been a few days. Ha! The heavens have blessed our race. God bless my son. When Yi Changfeng saw a sword flying out, he didn't mind. Seeing Long Fei getting closer and closer, he waved his hand and laughed complacently. "Brat, just die inside." Ha ha! What could a sword do? It could block the gate? It was impossible. The door was made of an extraordinary material, comparable to a heaven-ranked divine weapon. Even holy artifact would not be able to shatter it in an instant. A fully grown, damaged iron sword? What the hell use was that? The gate was used to close the secret world. When the gate was designed, they already knew that it would be destroyed while the secret world was collapsing. Once it was closed, Long Fei would not be able to break it. Yirong won't be able to break it. However, was the door made of heaven-step materials awesome? Rumble. The Sky Sword pierced the gate, or to be more accurate, it was not a stab because the Sky Sword did not touch the gate at all, but the strange energy released by the Sky Sword was like a laser cannon. A huge force suddenly exploded. Rumble, rumble. A huge explosion shook the skies and shook the earth, spreading out for hundreds of thousands of kilometers. All the demon beasts in the entire Xianyu mountain range were crawling on the ground and shivering. And the gate? He could not hold on for even a second, and instantly shattered into pieces. The The strong force was like a flood as it rushed out, and Yi Changfeng still had a complacent smile on his face. At this moment, the smile froze. At this moment, he did not know how to defend against the rusted sky sword. He retreated quickly as the power of the Golden Protector level formed a complete defense as he roared continuously. Ah! Ah! It couldn't be stopped. It couldn't be stopped. The sword was locked between his eyebrows. As he got closer, his defenses were useless. This strike contained the anger in Long Fei's heart. What is a sky sword? It was something that Long Zhanting had purposely revealed at ancient holy battlefield, and he had already thought of Long Fei's calamity from the very beginning. At that time, he didn't dare to guarantee that Long Fei would not be able to hold on. However, there was always an additional reason for the sky sword to be by his side. The sky sword followed Long Fei and reincarnated. Even though it was struck by the seal, however, it was very clear about its mission. Long Fei was angry, the sky was angry. This time, Long Fei's anger was much greater than usual, and even the elders of the 8 generations of their ancestors were furious. Yi Changfeng had repeatedly made things difficult for him and bullied him. This time, she had even more severely injured the people around him. Long Fei could not tolerate it. Ah! Ah! Yi Changfeng screamed miserably. Stop, make it stop. His face was pale, and he was in an extremely sorry state. However, the sky sword's speed did not decrease by 1 bit as it stabbed towards the center of his brows. Ah! Yi Changfeng roared. His right hand turned into a claw and clawed fiercely. Ah! Grand Elder, one of the disciples of the Xianyu Four Swords was suddenly grabbed by Yi Changfeng's powerful force and blocked directly in front of him. Puchi! Shua! The sword pierced the center of his brows, the sword blade still trembling violently, as though it wanted to continue breaking through. Yi Changfeng was so scared that he fell to the ground and crawled as he ran out. Bam! The disciple's eyes were wide open as he died with grievance. The sky sword pierced right into the center of his brows, gently swaying. The strange light disappeared, and it returned to a normal metal sword. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing. A system notification rang out. Long Fei did not bother about it. With one heavy step, he stepped out of the secret world, stepping onto the broken door. His gaze swept across the surroundings. The big man fell to the ground. The thin monkey fell to the ground, the cyan ox fell, and the black scale carving fell. Fury! Boom! It exploded like gasoline. Seeing the 4 sword wounds on Xiao Dai's body, blood that was like pillars continuously gushing out, Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. Buzz! Streaks of blood appeared in his eyes. The killing intent became a sound that emitted humming sounds in all directions, as if the killing intent in his previous life had awoken. The surrounding temperature suddenly dropped. It was as sinister as hell. It was also at this time that Yi Changfeng crawled up from the ground in a sorry state, stared at Long Fei, and heavily yelled, "Killing a fellow sect member, you deserve to die for your crimes. Men, kill him." Chapter 2291. Long Fei is angry. The heavens are angry. Chapter 2291. Long Fei is angry. The heavens are angry as soon as he finished. The crowd, who was completely crushed by this sudden turn of events, finally reacted, especially the 3 remaining sword strikes from the Xianyu Four Swords. The 3 of them immediately attacked Long Fei. "You dog, return my 3rd brother's life. Kill him." The 3 of them unleashed their most powerful killing techniques at incomparable speed. Full Moon Sword Technique. Sword Seeking Falling Moon. The 3 of them used the same move. The strongest sword move of the 3rd grade, for people practiced it at the same time, and now there are only 3 people left. Let alone the escalated blood stage. Even a peak-level chi condensation expert would not be able to withstand it. Yuan Shan frowned. Along, be careful. In everyone's eyes, what was Long Fei's cultivation level? Escalate Blood 2 stage. The level difference between the 3 swords and the one above Xinyan 3 sword was too huge. With the powerful sword moves of a 3rd grade cultivation technique, and the three of them attacking at the same time, Long Fei would not be able to react no matter how powerful he was. Even if he didn't die, he would be seriously injured. He's dead for sure. Humph. He asked for it. This is the moon-searching sword technique. Only the disciples of the elite hall is qualified to learn it. What's the point of this? It's better to die trapped in the secret world than if you were to die trapped there. Look at him. He's still standing motionless on the spot. He must be scared stiff by the three senior brothers. From what I see, he must be shivering. Ah! Whispers were heard all around. Indeed, Long Fei stood motionlessly at the entrance of Secret World. Seeing the three of them rushing over, his eyes were incomparably cold. It was very different. With a single breath, it was as though he had merged into another space. At this moment, the sky sword seemed to have caught its breath, accompanied by Long Fei's heartbeat and his breathing. Moreover, the sinister killing intent from Long Fei's body revolved around the sky sword, as if its body was enveloped by many energies. Useless, hand over your life. Die! 3 sword strikes came out, and a powerful sword intent came crashing over. Long Fei's eyes stared wide. Boom! A cold light burst out of his eyes, and the aura around him let out a loud buzzing sound, as if a thick fog had suddenly burst forth. He opened his right hand. Sword come! Chua! The sky sword that had pierced the third disciple of Mystic Moon suddenly flew up and retrieved its item from the air. It instantly fell into Long Fei's hands. In that moment, it was as if the sky sword had been pulled out of its scabbard. Long Fei did not use any sword moves. He directly used the sky sword like a kitchen knife and slashed down. Bam! Who wants to die? Long Fei shouted heavily. Chua! Sword chi flashed, and one of the disciples' bodies was split into two. His body was split into two and flew out, blood splashing all over Long Fei's body. His eyes were dyed with blood, and Long Fei's expression became even more sinister. However, he didn't even blink. Another flat slash. Who wants to die? Another heavy shout. Shwa! Another person's body was split into two. Fresh blood splashed all over Long Fei's body, and the sky sword was also covered in fresh blood. Long Fei's eyes were filled with blood, but he did not blink as he swung his sword down. Who the hell is looking for death? Boom! The sword landed. The third person was the same, his body split into two. Blood spurted out wildly. With Long Fei at the center, fresh blood flowed all over the ground, and his internal organs flowed all over the floor. The scene was extremely bloody and brutal, causing the faces of everyone around to turn pale in fright. They had seen the dead, they had seen the killing. However, he had never seen Long Fei like this. It was too bloody, too brutal. Moreover, it seemed like Long Fei's 3 ordinary strikes were not fancy at all, but it was chopped out in a split second. It didn't look fast, but in reality, it was shockingly fast. Ding! 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 The system sounded out 3 times. Long Fei still ignored him. His blood-stained eyes suddenly stared as he roared out loudly. Now, who's courting death? He was as brutal as a demon. It was extremely bloodthirsty. The surrounding hundreds of people were all crushed by Long Fei's imposing aura. Many young disciples began to tremble with fear. They were afraid. Fear rose from the depths of his bones. Zhao Etienne's face was pale white. Under his head, he did not dare to look up at Long Fei. Yi Chongfeng's expression also changed, his fists clenched tightly, his expression extremely ugly, as he said solemnly, "Useless trash." At the same time, he looked at Long Fei, and his heart was secretly shocked. He broke through again. His cultivation has already reached the 8th grade of blood refining in just a short day. Just what exactly happened for him to break through to the 6th level in a row? This kid must not be allowed to live. Long Fei's growth speed was just too fast. It was so fast that no one could imagine how it would be possible for him to lose control over it in the future if he were to be allowed to go on with it. He had to die. Yi Chongfeng's sleeve sank as he flipped his palm in his sleeve, secretly channeling his power. His robe fluttered without wind as he took a step forward and heavily shouted, shamelessly murdering a fellow disciple. you shall be punished with death. Even if you are not magic tribe, you are still inextricably linked to him. Where is the law enforcement hall? An elder said, Grand Elder, the people from the law enforcement hall have yet to arrive. The corners of Chongfeng's eyes twitched, and his expression turned sinister as he said, Since the law enforcement hall is not here, then I, without waiting for Chongfeng to finish. Long Fei also took a step forward. His eyes stared straight at Chongfeng and said, What useless words. Isn't it just to kill me? Come, if I can't kill you today, I won't be a dragon. Bang, bang, bang. Long Fei took a heavy step forward and directly rushed out in the end. The rage raged. Not just killing the Xianyu four swords. Chongfeng, this old thing must die. Even if he was a powerhouse of the Golden Protector level, with a difference in levels of 108,000 kilometers, he simply wasn't a match for them. Long Fei was stifled in his heart. He was in a bad mood. Brothers were beaten, women were beaten. He could not take this lying down. Even if he wasn't his opponent, he would still fight. Because he was Long Fei, he was a man. Even if Chongfeng didn't fight, he would kill him. The corner of Chongfeng's mouth drew back as he said gloomily, Kid, you asked for this yourself. Buzz. True essence was released. The huge elixir pressure took the lead to attack. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Wave after wave of pressure came crashing down like thunder. This time, Chongfeng didn't hold back at all, exploding forth with his strongest power. The last time he let Long Fei destroy the Feng Tiandao seal, hatred filled his heart. This time he would definitely let Long Fei die. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk Long Fei slashed continuously with the sky sword. The pressure was extinguished. In this instant, Long Fei continuously used the normal moves of the Phantom Sword Dance to superimpose on each other. The sword chi was accumulating continuously. Suddenly, Chongfeng's sleeve shook open, and a ball of Xuanao Bai's true chi spun frantically in his palm, smashing heavily towards Long Fei's head. Brat die. Yu Wanshan's face changed. It's over. This time, Kid quickly dodged. Long Fei acted as if he did not hear it, and pointed at the sky sword, flying immortal sword dance. Thank you for your support. I'll see who dares to touch him. I'll see who dares to touch him, sword chi superimposed. The last move of Phantom Sword Dance was released. At the same time, Long Fei also released Dugu Cheng's Fairy from Heaven, and combined two moves. His body shot out like an arrow. In the air, Long Fei's body was spinning, the wind was raging. Chongfeng's eyes shook, and the energy of the true chi on his right hand rushed out. Die. Boom! The two forces collided. All of a sudden, the ground began to shake rapidly. Powerful energy shockwaves were emitted one after another, and those disciples that were slightly closer to the stage were flipped over. The scene was extremely shocking. What a powerful strength. His sword art has become much more profound. Such a strong sword intent. This power is not one bit inferior to the power of the Elder Yi's true chi. Unbelievable. Yuan Shan was shocked, but his heart was still filled with sweat for Long Fei, because Long Fei was, after all, just an escalated blood stage. Chongfeng was in the elixir realm. No matter how incredible a cultivation technique was, it was unable to make up for the difference in level. Level was the key. If he could use other things to make up for it, then what was the point of cultivating? Why would he risk his life to break through? Thus, even if Long Fei's Fairy from Heaven and Phantom Sword Dance were high-grade skills, but many people felt that in this battle, Long Fei's defeat was inevitable. Kill him. Chongfeng, kill him. Zhao Etian shouted from the side. Many disciples also agreed. Kill him. Kill this dog that doesn't know his place. Many people hated Long Fei. It was because Long Fei had challenged 1,000 people in the elite hall selection alone, making them lose a lot of face. In the arena, the yellow sand filled the air, making it impossible to clearly see what was happening inside. One could only feel streams of energy rushing out. The stalemate lasted for several tens of seconds. Bam! A figure suddenly shot out. Chuan, Chongfeng's figure. Everyone was slightly shocked. It's the Elder Yi. At this moment, Elder Yi's face was pale. His right hand powerlessly hammered down, but he could no longer lift it up. His pupils contracted rapidly, as if he was looking at an incomparably terrifying scene. The moment he landed, his feet became unstable as he continuously retreated backwards. In that instant, from within the yellow sand, Long Fei's figure slowly walked out. His long sword dragged on the ground as ear-piercing sounds were emitted one after another. Flee. Even if I escape to the infernal realm today, I'll still kill. A figure walked out from the dust. His entire body was covered in blood, and his eyes were incomparably malevolent. The fury that was being emitted from his body could be seen with the naked eye. Savage. Moreover, the sky sword also carried a faint scarlet glow. In that previous exchange, Long Fei had used all of his strength, but he had not. The difference in levels was too great. In the game, even if you were in a coquettish position, no matter how well prepared you were, you still wouldn't be a match for someone with a strong skill. That was what Long Fei deeply felt when that move collided with his. He couldn't hold on for much longer. However, just at this moment, the sky sword seemed to have broken through some kind of taboo. The anger in Long Fei's heart seemed to explode as a result. One move of Slay. It directly broke the joints of Yi Changfeng's arms and sent him flying at the same time. Long Fei had never felt this kind of power before. It was also somewhat familiar. In short, that moment was too fast, so Long Fei didn't have the time to feel it. Don't come near me. Let me tell you, I am an elder of the Pill Pavilion, the great clan elder of the Xinyu sect. If you dare to touch a single hair on my head, the thousands of disciples in the Xinyu sect will not forgive you. Yi Changfeng's body trembled sinisterly, his eyes swaying a little. Long Fei smirked and said, "Why would I touch a single hair on your head? What I want is your dog life." Step by step, he walked forward. To Yi Changfeng, it was like a death god carrying a scythe on his shoulder. Yi Changfeng said heavily, "Brat, have you gone mad? Kill me? Have you thought about the consequences? Without me, Xinyu sect is dead for sure. You better understand this point." Although he exaggerated it a little. However, it was not possible for the Xinyu sect to lack Yi Changfeng because he was the highest level alchemy master. Without his pellets, it would be difficult for the Xinyu sect to circulate its energy. As time passed, problems would appear in the pills a disciple cultivated. This way, the Xinyu sect would truly be finished. Yu Wanshan frowned and anxiously said, "A long stop." Yi Changfeng immediately said, "Did you hear that? I told you to stop." Immediately, several elders stepped forward and said, "Brat, don't act recklessly. Did you hear that? This is not the place for you to behave atrociously. I order you to stop." At the same time, a few elders guarded Yi Changfeng and a dozen or so disciples of the elite hall as formed a protective circle, because they knew it very well. If Yi Changfeng died, their pills would break. Then how would they cultivate in the future? Yi Changfeng cannot die. He was concerned about the fate of the Xinyu sect. Xiao Dai loathed Yi Changfeng in her heart, but at this time she was also thinking for the Xinyu sect, so she said, "Along, don't act recklessly. Let's wait for young sect master to come out first." Since Yi Changfeng's life was small, the Xinyu sect's operation was more important. However, all these were just words for Long Fei. What does it have to do with him? I'm not in a good mood and want to kill. After provoking him time and time again, today he even hurt his brother and beat up his sister. "Junior brother, calm down. I'm warning you, don't come over. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite." Several elite disciples warned Long Fei. Seeing this scene, Yi Changfeng was secretly pleased in his heart. At the same time, the fear in his heart disappeared, and he regained his calm as he shouted heavily, "Brat, you think you can kill me? Don't you know who I am? This is the Xinyu sect, the great clan elder who killed the Xinyu sect. He is an enemy of the entire Xinyu sect. Humph! I will stand here and not move. I want to see how much courage you have." Yi Changfeng was secretly pleased with himself. Xinyu sect could not leave him. Without the pills he refined, the disciples of Xinyu sect and the elders would have no problem cultivating it. He had already used up a month's worth of pills, and many of the elders and disciples had already used up all of their pills. Now that he had reached this critical juncture, it was all the more important. No one in the Xianyu sect could do it, except for him. Yuan Shan said solemnly, "Senior Brother Yin, can you speak less?" "Humph." Yi Changfeng coldly snorted and said, "Am I wrong?" At this moment, dozens of law enforcement disciples rushed over. "Law Enforcement Hall is here." Yi Changfeng grinned. "Let's see how you continue being so arrogant now. Where's the Law Enforcement Hall? Capture this dog that slaughtered his own fellow sect members." And then, the disciples of the Law Enforcement Hall quickly surrounded Long Fei. However, at this time, a person stood at the exit of Secret World. "I want to see who dares to touch him." Chapter 2293, Alchemy, Life Wager. Chapter 2293, Alchemy, Life Wager. Upon hearing those words, everyone turned their attention to Zhang Xian. Yirong stood there coldly. Dignity, domineering. Moreover, it was emitting an imposing aura of a superior, even though it was not angry. This was a sentence that left the entire hall completely crushed. The law enforcement disciples did not dare to make a move. Yi Changfeng frowned. When Long Fei came out, he thought it was just a coincidence, but he did not expect Yirong to come out as well. Yirong said coldly, "What? No one recognizes me." Immediately, Yuan Shan was the first to react and immediately bowed. "Greetings, young sect master." All of the disciples kneeled down in unison. "We greet the young sect master." Yirong coldly swept his eyes across the body, looked at the Xianyu Four Swords' corpse, then looked at Yi Changfeng and said, "What happened?" Yi Changfeng frowned and thought for a few seconds, then slowly said, "You have to ask him. Killing fellow disciples, extremely cruel. I suspect that he is someone from the magic tribe." Yi Changfeng pointed to Long Fei. The anger in Long Fei's heart had not faded. Yi Changfeng's contemptuous mouth once again appeared. The anger in his heart was truly unable to be suppressed. With the strength of the sky sword at the center, he shouted loudly, the 18 generations of my devil ancestors." Boom! A faint blood-red light formed a formidable force that directly blew away the law enforcement disciples. At the same time, Long Fei took a step forward, his long sword startled in the air as he aimed it at Yi Changfeng's throat. "Fuck you, go die." Yi Changfeng's face changed. He never thought that Long Fei would still dare to attack him. Even Yirong was present. How could he dare be so presumptuous? Yi Changfeng shouted for help. "Killed, killed. The people from Magic Tribe are going to kill." He was forced to retreat. Yirong's expression tensed. Her figure was like an illusion. Her figure moved and immediately landed in mid-air, blocking Long Fei. She snorted heavily and said, "Stop right there." Long Fei ignored him and shouted, "Get out of the way." The Sky Sword's power shook. He once again released a strong sword intent pressure. Yirong's mind trembled. What a strong sword intent. His strength has become strong again. Is he a human or a ghost? His right hand sank. Wong. Everyone's face changed. Xianyu Underworld Wheel. The supreme treasure of the sect. Young sect master actually took out a Xianyu Underworld Wheel. Xiao Dai said anxiously, "Sister Yi, don't hurt along." "Hurt him?" Yirong is too abnormal. You can't even imagine how he still has some kind of powerful strength that he hasn't used yet. If she did not bring out her Xianyu Underworld Wheel, I really don't know how she would fend against Long Fei. The Xianyu Underworld Wheel trembled. Buzz, 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 buzz. The nether wheel began to revolve. The turning of the Underworld Wheel stopped abruptly as the Sky Sword blocked Long Fei's attack directly. Yirong was even more shocked in his heart. This sword, it's not normal. Under normal circumstances, any normal weapon would be shattered the moment it came into contact with the Xianyu Underworld Wheel. Even the Fong Tiandao seal that Yi Changfeng was so proud of would be shattered as well. However, the broken sword in Long Fei's hand that was covered in rust could actually block it. In addition, Yirong could feel such a strong impact of energy, and it was as if an enormous dragon was roaring. She could not withstand that kind of shock. And then, Eorong's idea sunk and sent a sound transmission. Along, I know you hate him, but he cannot die and cannot die temporarily. If he wants to die, Shin Yu sect will also be finished. As the young sect master, she had to consider the overall situation. The current Shin Yu sect, the Zhao family, and the Zhou family all entered their residence in a baffled manner. She knew clearly in her heart that the Zhao and Zhou family had their eyes on something in the Shin Yu sect. She was also investigating this. When she entered the special space below the main hall and found out that it was the necropolis, she suspected that the Zhao and Zhou families were after the Abyss Dragon's body. At this critical juncture, if there was any problem with the Shin Yu sect, it could be said that the Zhao and Zhou families would invade without restraint. She had to look at the big picture. Yi Changfeng could not die. Long Fei's long sword trembled. His body fiercely shot out. Landing on the ground, he did not send a sound transmission and shouted, "I do not care. Whoever touches my brother will die." Don't even mention what kind of great elder he is. Even if he's the god of heaven, he would still do the same. This is the principle of I, Long Fei. Eorong's brows tightened and said, "You only know your own principles. What about the Shin Yu sect? I am a young sect master, and I will enforce the law impartially. I will definitely give you justice." "No way," Long Fei shouted. "I do not need any fairness. I want his life." Yi Changfeng shouted, "Are you even worthy? Young sect master, he has to kill all of our fellow sect members. Even this great elder must do his job. If you don't imprison him today, I, Yi Changfeng, will leave the Shin Yu sect." The voice shouted. Many people in the audience were shocked. Yi Changfeng's eyes moved slightly. At the same time, several elders stood up at the same time and said, "Young sect master, this child has committed many evil deeds, and his methods are brutal. If you do not punish him, I will also leave Shin Yu sect. I will also leave the sect. I will also leave the sect." All of a sudden, a few elders stood beside Yi Changfeng. Following, there were quite a few other disciples of the Elite Hall S who announced that they would leave the sect. They were trying to force the palace. Eorong's face tensed up. A lone sect leaving Shin Yu sect would not be enough. If so many elders and their elite disciples left the Shin Yu sect, the power would be greatly reduced. The consequences were unimaginable. She had underestimated the influence of Yi Changfeng in the Shin Yu sect. The power of a small pill was simply too great. Eorong clenched his fists under his sleeves. Right now, the most difficult person to choose from was her. She had to consider the big picture and, at the same time, protect Long Fei. Moreover, she knew very well that once she gave the order to detain Long Fei, Yi Changfeng would definitely take advantage of this opportunity and join other elders, requesting them to kill Long Fei. Even Eorong, who had always been extremely smart, didn't know how to choose right now. Yi Changfeng said, "Young sect master, it seems like you want to protect this demon that kills without batting an eye. Good, then I will." At this moment, Long Fei suddenly interrupted. "Yi Changfeng, don't you only know how to refine 2 pills? Do you think you won't change without Shin Yu sect? Do you think that no one else than you can achieve alchemy?" Yi Changfeng sneered and said, "Brat, you are right. I can use alchemy. Anyone less is fine in Shin Yu sect. The only thing is that I cannot be absent." Since things had gotten to this point, Yi Changfeng did not have any worries. Moreover, he had a complacent look on his face. Yi Changfeng said, "I am a 6th-stage alchemy master. Forget about Shin Yu sect. Even the #1 sect of Zhaogua would have to curry favor with me. Who do you think you are? A mere nobody. So what if you have some strength? You think you can beat me?" Yi Changfeng said proudly. Long Fei's gaze turned sinister as he said coldly, "Your alchemy is powerful, right? All right, I'll compete with you in alchemy. A life wager." Chapter 2294. Competitions in which losers are guaranteed to lose. Chapter 2294. Competitions in which losers are guaranteed to lose. He must be killed. If he did not kill, Long Fei would never be able to take it lying to his brother. However, he knew that Eorong was in a difficult situation. She did not make a choice. Alchemy? He didn't understand it too well. However, the alchemy knowledge in his mind was above this world. So long as he could display it without any mistakes, it was definitely possible. Compete with me in alchemy? You still want to bet your life? Yi Changfeng's eyes shook. He stared at Long Fei and laughed out loud. Ha ha. It was also at this time. Many people laughed. Ha ha ha. Competing with the great clan elder's alchemy? Is there something wrong with your brain? Brat, take a good look at your piss. Take a look at yourself. And see just what kind of virtue you have, your alchemy. Do you know how to write the word alchemy? If he knows alchemy, then this daddy can still go to heaven. What a joke! Alchemy? What was needed was not only talent, but the accumulation of experience over a long period of time. Cultivation of alchemy master was simply too difficult. This was also the reason why the sects with thousands of people in Xinyu sect did not have many alchemy masters, which was why Yi Changfeng's status was so lofty. A disciple's alchemy that wasn't even 20 years old? He didn't even have the qualifications to become an apprentice apothecary. Yi Yurong let out a low growl as well, and said, "Don't be reckless. Do you understand alchemy?" Long Fei said very calmly, "I don't really understand, but I can't stand a person like Yi Changfeng who likes to act cool. Do you really think you are so strong just by concocting a few pills? He can control the sect and do whatever he wants. He can injure my brother and my sister. And your alchemy is amazing. This daddy will compete with yours. And if you step on anyone, I will jump to your strongest place, and this daddy will definitely trample you to death." Long Fei said fiercely. Yi Changfeng's eyes turned sinister, and he roared, "Good." Then without waiting for him to finish speaking, Yi Yurong interrupted him and said, "He doesn't know alchemy." Yi Changfeng said straightforwardly, "Young sect master, it's useless for you to defend him. The life wager alchemy was brought up by him. Everyone heard it. You destroyed my Feng Tiandao seal, I'll endure it. Break my arm, I'll endure it. However, to humiliate my Tao of alchemy and look down on my alchemy technique, I cannot tolerate that. Kid, this is what you said yourself. Alchemy, life wager." Yi Yurong looked at Long Fei, signaling him not to be impulsive. However, Long Fei took a step forward and said, "You did not hear wrongly. It was my words. Alchemy is a wager, and I will bet my alchemy on your life." Yi Yurong's heart sank. Xiao Dai wanted to advise him, but he had no way to. Yuan Shan also let out a long sigh. "You're too young. You're overflowing and throwing away your life. You don't even know alchemy, and want to compete with a 6-stage alchemy master in alchemy? I really don't know what you're thinking, Sai." There was no saving him. Many people snickered. "Idiot. Brainless. Trash. You want to gamble your life against the great clan elder's alchemy? He's really courting death. Ha ha. I've seen people who overestimate their own abilities, but I've never seen anyone who overestimates their own abilities." Just when everyone was laughing in ridicule, Long Fei said again, "I broke your arm just now and gave you 3 days to recover. I don't want you to find excuses if you lose at that time." Cluck, cluck. Yi Changfeng angrily gritted his teeth. It was as if he was someone who didn't understand alchemy and was laughed at by others. "All right," Yi Changfeng said. "We will meet each other on the pill platform in 3 days. Long Fei said, "Remember, if there's anything else, just say it quickly." Yi Changfeng gritted his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter and said, "Brat, just wait to die." Humph. He waved his sleeve and left. Zhao Etian immediately followed, and the elders who threatened to leave the sect also quickly followed. Not long later, not many people around them left. Yuan Shan looked at Long Fei and said sincerely, "Sigh." Then he shook his head and slowly walked away with his hands behind his back. If we were to compete with an ordinary disciple in alchemy, it wouldn't be much, but Long Fei was directly like the strongest alchemy master in Xinyu sect, betting his life on this. He was simply courting death. Yi Yurong looked at Long Fei with a complicated expression. At this moment, Long Fei was furious in his heart, but he had been very calm this whole time. He said to Yi Yurong while looking at him, "Don't thank me. I am just unhappy with him. And he must die." In Long Fei's mind, Yi Changfeng was already on the death list. Yi Rong said, "You don't even know alchemy. How are you going to compete with Yi Changfeng? Do you know what will happen if you lose? Do you think you're finished just because you're dead?" Not just that. Yi Changfeng might even take advantage of this situation and directly force her to abdicate. Yi Rong was very clear about the situation today in his heart. 3 days later, the moment Yi Changfeng wins, he would definitely make all kinds of rude requests. Plus, he had the support of the Zhao family. The Xianyu sect would probably become part of the Zhao family. Long Fei replied, "I won't die because I won't lose." "He won't lose." Yi Rong said, "Then I ask you, what will you use to win? What rank did you cultivate your alchemy technique to? What rank pill can you refine? How many spirit grasses do you know?" "You are too reckless." Yi Rong also felt a bit of heartache. She was relying too much on the pill pavilion for this. Yi Changfeng swallowed every single step, and the current pill pavilion was already able to control the entire Xianyu sect. This was her mistake. Xiao Dai said weakly, "Sister, Yi Long doesn't even know alchemy. How about, let's leave Xianyu sect?" Yi Rong's eyes lit up. Long Fei looked at the 4 injured Xiao Dai, and his heart tightened. Clenching his fists tightly, he said in his heart, "I will definitely take his life." Seeing Long Fei's resolute expression, Yi Rong swallowed back all his words. "What happened?" The big-sized man shook his head and woke up slightly. When he saw Long Fei, he immediately said, "Boss, you came out." He became excited. Just as he climbed back up, his vital energy and blood roiled in his chest, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His face turned pale. His body became unsteady. Long Fei's heart once again hurt. Yi Rong took out the War Pet Space's ring and retrieved the black scale carving back into the War Pet Space. He looked at Long Fei and said faintly, "During these 3 days, the great gates to the Xianyu sect will be open day and night. It will be best to leave from the direction of the Xianbei mountain." Finished. Yi Rong left in large strides. If she didn't leave now, she wouldn't be able to control herself. She had used too many true Qi today, and her abdomen injury had started acting up again. He was on the verge of collapsing. Moreover, she understood Long Fei's personality. He would never run away. She didn't want Long Fei to lose. In these 3 days, she did her best to help, because the man entered her heart. Thank you for your support. Chapter 295. People are not ruthless. Chapter 295. People are not ruthless. Desolate mountain slope. Gui Qingshan's residence. The 3 of them were lying on the sickbed, while the green ox was also lying in the corral. They were all severely injured. "Boss, how can you compete with Yi Changfeng in alchemy? It's not like you don't know that he's a 6th-stage alchemy master, the highest-level alchemy master in the Xianyu sect." Thin Monkey's face was pale as he said worriedly, "Boss, I believe in you," the big guy said blindly. Thin Monkey said, "I believe in you, big head. Is this believed enough? The alchemy is something that is truly paid attention to, and the boss has not even learned the alchemy. How can we compete?" Xiao Dai also said weakly as he looked at Long Fei, "Along, you should go. Leave the Xianyu sect, the farther the better. Don't worry about us. With Sister Yi here, Yi Changfeng doesn't dare to do anything to us." There was no suspense in this match. Everyone believed that Long Fei would lose, and it would be the same for the people around him. Alchemy and cultivation were different. Alchemy paid more attention to strength and experience, and there was no luck, nor was there any luck involved. No means no. Furthermore, alchemy emphasized on talent. Was Long Fei's talent suitable for the alchemy? Long Fei looked at the 3 of them and muttered, "Don't worry, I'll definitely win." The big guy smiled innocently. "I believe boss will win." Thin Monkey and Xiao Dai did not speak. Long Fei said, "Rest well. I'll go to the Compendium Pavilion and look for A to cultivate for a while." Big Owl, Thin Monkey, Xiao Dai. The 3 were speechless. Long Fei walked out of the room, looked into the distance, and muttered to himself, "Difficult to cultivate? F***CK. That still depends on who it is. Is 6th grade alchemy very strong? I will challenge you and trample you to death." Long Fei felt disdain in his heart. To others, cultivating the alchemy technique for 3 days was probably a fantasy. Not to mention 3 days, even if it were 3 years, 30 years wouldn't be enough. Yi Changfeng was close to 60 years old, and only after a lifetime of cultivation did he manage to reach the 6th stage of alchemy technique. You wanted to feed him in 3 days? Impossible. But who is Long Fei? As the owner of the system, his training skills were completely different from others. However, before that, he had to acquire the alchemy technique to cultivate and level up his skills. Half an hour later, Long Fei arrived at the martial pavilion. This was the Kung Fu storage pavilion. Inside, there were many martial skills and thousands of secret skills. It was as if rank 1 martial skills were taken away, and there were only 100 rank 3 martial skills and cultivation techniques. As for 4th rank cultivation techniques, the total number of 5th rank cultivation technique manuals was less than 10. A martial skill was extremely important to a martial arts training cultivator. The importance of the technique was not weaker than the pills, but the pills were consumables, and the technique itself was not. Thus, in the Xianyu sect's martial pavilion, his position was only second to the pill pavilion. As Long Fei walked along the road, countless people would point at him from the back. That's him. It was this brat who overestimated himself and wanted to compete in alchemy with Elder E. He's simply retarded. Only he understands alchemy. Do you know how to refine his alchemy back then? If I use the iron pot's alchemy, I'll die from laughter. The entire iron pot will directly explode into the sky. Huh? I saw it too. This person is a complete fool. Yes, I've heard that too. Who has the brains to compete with the Elder E in alchemy? Who in the Xianyu sect didn't know that the majority of the pellets were refined by him, competing in alchemy with him? You still want to bet your life? This is not how you seek death. Whispering along the way. Mockery, hot discussion, disdain. It could be said, the entire Xianyu sect did not look favorably on Long Fei. Besides, it could be said that she hated him, because it was Long Fei who made them not receive any medicinal pellets for a month, and it was Long Fei who made nearly 1,000 disciples lose in the arena. In this life wager with the great clan elder, many people hoped that Long Fei would lose. They all wanted to stomp on him. They all wanted to curry favor with the Grand Elder. Long Fei turned a deaf ear to all of this. He himself felt that it was a little inconceivable because he found that he was in an exceptionally good mood. It was as if he did not hear the heated discussion about these taunts. If this was his previous life on Earth, he would definitely rush there to fight for his life. Long Fei felt that he didn't seem to be himself anymore. This was also because his memories had yet to awaken. The dog bit you. You can't go up and bite the dog. As a human, why should I lower myself to the same level as a dog? Arriving at the martial pavilion, Long Fei walked forward and said, "Senior brother, I'm here to borrow a martial skill." The 2 disciples looked at Long Fei. They naturally recognized Long Fei, and their eyes went cold as they spoke with disdain. "There is no martial skill that you want." Long Fei was startled. "I have yet to say what martial skill I want to borrow. How do you know that I do not have the martial skill that I want to borrow?" One of the disciples sneered and said, "I guess you're here to borrow the earth escape technique, or maybe drilling technique." Escape. Drilling the hole. Was it used to drill a dog hole and escape? Many disciples outside the martial pavilion heard this and immediately burst into laughter. Long Fei's eyes became sinister and said indifferently, "Am I very easy to bully?" The disciple continued, "I do not know if you're good at bullying, but you make us very unhappy. If it wasn't for the fact that your elder, he would have stopped receiving pills, would it? Your father was almost able to break through to the 7th grade of the blood refinement realm because of the lack of medicinal pills. Kid, quickly scram. As long as I am on duty, you can forget about borrowing any martial skills from the martial pavilion." She hated him. There were many disciples like him. The pill pavilion had been closed for a month. Many disciples would find it difficult to improve without the aid of pills. They blamed it all on Long Fei. "Scram! Didn't you hear me? Don't think that you're that amazing. Compared to great elders' alchemy, who do you think you are? Get lost. The two disciples began to drive him away. Long Fei's eyes darkened, his fists clenched inside his sleeves. Suddenly, boom! Long Fei took a step forward, and both his palms slapped down ruthlessly. Pa. F***CK. Lousy has given you face, right? Long Fei roared. He could endure mocking and ridiculing, but that did not mean he would continue to endure. A dog cannot bite a dog, but he can hit a dog. After 2 slaps, the 2 disciples' bodies staggered, and fell to the ground. The 5-finger marks on their faces could be seen, and their cheeks were red and swollen. Looking at Long Fei's furious gaze, fear rose in their hearts. Long Fei took a step forward. The 2 of them immediately retreated and did not dare to look Long Fei in the eye anymore. People were like this. If you aren't ruthless, you won't be able to stand properly. Long Fei asked coldly. Can I borrow the martial skills now? But yes. You can borrow any martial skill below rank 3. The disciple was afraid that Long Fei would slap him again. The feeling was not good. Long Fei walked towards the martial pavilion. At this moment, a dozen martial pavilion disciples rushed out from not too far away, and one of them shouted, You dare to commit violence in the martial pavilion. Capture him. Chapter 2296, System Against Heaven. Chapter 2296, System Against Heaven. As soon as he finished, a dozen disciples quickly rushed forward. Long Fei looked angry. There's no end to this, is there? The anger in his heart was ignited. Kid, you want to borrow the martial skills of the people who injured us on our territory? Humph, I think you're thinking too much. Why don't you see what kind of place this is? Is it a place of trash like you can come to? The head of the first disciple said in a fierce tone. Long Fei slightly turned around, coldly stared at the man, and said, Try saying trash again. Cold. That head disciple was not afraid in the slightest, and shouted, Just say it. Am I afraid of you? Just you. At this moment, an old man walked out from the martial pavilion. All the disciples outside the martial pavilion trembled and immediately sheathed their weapons and greeted respectfully. Master! Martial pavilion elder, Wu Yi. Wu Yi glanced at Long Fei and said faintly, Come in. The head disciple immediately said, Master, he's been praising junior brother Liu and junior brother Lin. He dares to be so arrogant in our martial pavilion's territory. If we just let him go like this, then what face will our martial pavilion have left? Wu Yi looked at him and said, You earned your face by yourself. You want to stop him? All right, if you can stop him by yourself today, I can make it so that he will never be able to step foot into the martial pavilion again. Can you? The eldest disciple was stunned. Although he was in the refinement realm, his cultivation was not yet comparable to any of the Xianyu Four Swords S. For swords had died in Long Fei's hands, and he was alone. He wasn't a match at all. Wu Yi slightly shouted, Since you can't do it, then let us go. Don't embarrass me by saying that others are useless. And you too. Wu Yi stared at the 2 gatekeepers and said, Lending you a cultivation technique is each Xianyu sect disciple's qualification. What right do you have to stop me? If such a thing happens again, I won't let you off lightly. Many disciples immediately lowered their heads, not daring to speak. Wu Yi looked at Long Fei and said, Come in. Long Fei felt admiration in his heart, but at the same time, he felt a little embarrassed. After all, he had beaten someone up and said, Clan Elder, I just injured your disciple. It's really. Wu Yi waved his hand and said, It's fine, they just deserve to be taught a lesson. This is the martial pavilion. The first floor is a rank 1 martial art, the second floor is a rank 2 martial art, and the third floor has some rank 3 martial arts. You can borrow any martial art you like and choose any martial art you want. Wu Yi said, However, flipping through any cultivation technique is useless now. It's still better to do as young Sectmaster said. I will arrange for you to enter the Xianyu mountain range and leave this place. He also did not want Long Fei to die on the pill stage. With the loss of the alchemy competition, Yi Changfeng would definitely not let Long Fei off. They would definitely kill him. Long Fei said, Thank you, Elder, for your kind intentions. I still do not wish to leave Xianyu sect. Sigh. You brat, you are really stubborn. The so-called wise man does not fight when the odds are against him. When the limelight is over and you return, this Xianyu sect will welcome you anytime. Wu Yi said sincerely and sincerely. He was a man of love. Long Fei was a rare talent. It was a pity to die. Moreover, this year, the God sect gathering was getting closer and closer. If Long Fei could help the Xianyu sect fight, he would definitely bring honor to the Xianyu sect. Long Fei said, "Don't worry, I definitely won't die." After he finished speaking, he ran off to pick out a cultivation technique. Although Wu Yi thought that he would lose, but his heart was still warm. After all, this was a type of concern. Watching Long Fei leave, Wu Yi sighed. Not long later, Long Fei then found the alchemy technique idea and said, "Cultivate." Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for comprehending alchemy technique. In that instant, a new skill appeared in the skill bar. Alchemy technique. Skills. Alchemy technique level. 0/500. Cooldown. 10 seconds consumption. 10 true Chi-S description. The higher the grade of the pill, the greater the consumption. Following that, Long Fei left without stopping. Time was of the essence, and he didn't want to waste it. In these 3 days, he had to raise his alchemy technique S, and more importantly, to reach the 7th stage or above, he had to ruthlessly trample Yi Changfeng to death. What cultivation technique did he choose from the martial pavilion? After Long Fei left, the artifact pavilion elder, Yuan Shan, walked out. He was the same as Wu Yi. He didn't want to see Long Fei die on the pill platform, but they couldn't think of any way to help him. Long Fei had a stubborn temper. They had prepared an escape tunnel for Long Fei, but this brat was completely ignoring them. Wu Yi laughed bitterly and said, "Alchemy technique." What? Yuan Shan trembled slightly and smiled bitterly. He really doesn't know alchemy? Choosing the alchemy technique at this time? Could it be that he wants to raise his alchemy technique to the 6th rank in 3 days? Sigh. This child is too young and too arrogant. He should be able to do whatever he wants. But what about him? Why do you have to compete in alchemy with Yi Changfeng and even gamble your life? Yuan Shan felt a little heartache. Wu Yi said, "Senior brother Yu, we don't have to worry. Young sect master must have made arrangements. Young sect master will definitely not let him die just like that." What did you say? He went to the martial pavilion to borrow an alchemy technique. Pucci. Ha ha. Ha ha. Zhao Yiqian laughed out loud. I had thought that he really knew alchemy, but to think that he really didn't know it. Borrowing alchemy technique at this time? What did he want to do? Do you want to cultivate alchemy to the same level as the elder Yi? Then why didn't he go up into the sky? Ha! Zhao Yiqian laughed loudly. Forget about cultivating alchemy technique. Even if it was just some simple cultivation technique, there wouldn't be any breakthroughs in 3 days. What's more, it required talent to cultivate the alchemy technique. Yi Changfeng also revealed a look of contempt and said, "Compared to me in alchemy, I'll just watch how you die." Zhao Yiqian said, "This time, I must kill him." Yi Changfeng said, "Your Highness, don't worry. This time he is dead for sure." Zhao Yiqian said, "All right, Elder Yi, I still have a few 8th rank spirit grass here. No matter what, we must put him to death and not let him live." Grade 8 spirit grass? Yi Changfeng revealed an excited expression and said, "If it's another level 8 spirit grass, even if it's the heavens, it would still kill him 100 times. Zhao Yiqian smiled in satisfaction and said slightly, "Why have the people that were sent to the divine capital not returned yet? Furthermore, logically speaking, my big brother should also be here." Yi Changfeng's brows also tightened and said, "I've already sent people to investigate and haven't returned either. However, Your Highness, there are still a few more months until the God sect gathering. At that time, the Crown Prince will definitely attend, and you will be known as the representative of the Xianyu sect. Then everything will be known." Yi Changfeng said with a smile. Zhao Yiqian was startled and said, "I will be the representative?" He was slightly surprised. Yi Changfeng said excitedly. With that trash, Long Fei dead, the next step is to make Yi Yurong abdicate his position, and I will become the acting sect master. Zhao Etian laughed. Ha ha. Yi Changfeng also laughed loudly. Ha. Chapter 2297, Gifted Soul of Underworld. Chapter 2297, Gifted Soul of Underworld within the Mountain Forest. Long Fei looked at the alchemy technique in the Systems Techniques column and carefully studied it for a long time. True Qi, activate the fire. True Qi will be injected into the spirit grass, and the spirit liquid will be activated. Idea cores. The way I use my alchemy was completely different from last time. Heaven and earth are the furnaces, so of course it is fire. This kind of alchemy is 10,000 times better than this alchemy technique. Long Fei was very confused. He dared swear that he'd absolutely never refined a medicinal pill in his previous life. At most, he could only play the card-making game of QQ, although there was a pill furnace that was used to craft cards. However, such a high-level alchemy technique was imprinted in his mind. So what exactly was going on? Long Fei couldn't understand. I don't care. I will first upgrade the alchemy technique. But alchemy requires spirit grass. I don't even have a single spirit grass right now. Long Fei was a little speechless. He casually grabbed some grass, and the idea also moved activate. Activating alchemy technique. The true Qi moved. The wild grass in Long Fei's hands trembled a few times, and the wild grass in less than a second withered and turned yellow. Ding! Refining failed. Proficiency is increased by 1. Oh, weeds. Come to alchemy in front of spirit grass? Long Fei was just a little careless. He didn't expect that weeds could come to alchemy in front of spirit grass. Although it was a failure, there would still be an increase in the number of proficiency S. Immediately, Long Fei laughed. Ha ha. Who can stop me? I only asked one question. Who else could it be? If even weeds could cause alchemy, they would be too easy to raise proficiency. The system was too awesome. Actually, the spirit grass, as well as the normal flowers, plants, and trees were all born from it. Although there was no dense spiritual qi, there was still a trace of it that could be acknowledged by the system. Ding! Refining failed. Proficiency is increased by 1. Ding! Refining failed. Proficiency is increased by 1. Ding! Refining failed. Proficiency is increased by 1. Once every 10 seconds, the system would sound out a notification of failure. But to Long Fei, the sound of failure was extremely pleasing to the ear. What he wanted was the proficiency. What he needed was his level. 2 hours later. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up to the first grade alchemy technique. Ha ha! Long Fei laughed. Other people wouldn't be able to break through a first rank alchemy master in 2 days, 2 months, or even 2 years' time. Whereas me, 2 hours. Ha ha! I'm really too awesome. I'm about to fall in love with myself. Continue. Long Fei quickly started to cultivate, training in the darkness, as though he had been possessed by a devil. He stayed in the forest for the whole afternoon, and he kept scratching at the surrounding weeds like a madman. Young sect master, I suspect that he is under too much pressure and is a little out of his mind. Could this be one of his methods of playing the fool and avoiding the alchemy competition this time? A female disciple said lightly. Yurong sent people to monitor Long Fei. Other than protecting her, she also wanted to know what Long Fei was doing. When Long Fei borrowed the alchemy technique from the martial pavilion, her heart sank. She had thought that Long Fei at least knew a little about alchemy, but now it seemed that he really did not. Now, he was clawing at weeds in the woods. Too much pressure? Unconscious? Yurong started to worry uncontrollably. Now it seemed that Long Fei was not an ordinary person. However, she believed that Long Fei would not use such an excuse to avoid the competition. He was the one who proposed the competition in alchemy. You can go down first and keep a close watch. Don't let him find out. Yurong indicated. Yes, disciple. After the female disciple left, An old man in a black robe walked out from the darkness and said, "I have observed him already. He does not have the aura of the Ming clan on him." Eorong had already told them what happened in the Xian Yu secret territory. Eorong said slightly, "Then how do you explain the situation within Secret World? The Dark Unicorn all say that he is someone from Ming clan. Elder Ming, could it be that it is because our levels are not high enough to tell?" Elder Ming pondered for a moment before replying, "Probably not. He's not even 20 yet. If it's a descendant of the Ming clan I would definitely be able to see through their cultivation. However, Eorong, your great discovery this time, gave the Ming clan a chance to rise in power. As long as we obtain the inheritance, the Ming clan will have a chance at survival." As he spoke, the old man's black robe began to tremble. He was very excited. The Netherworm was a supreme existence in the Ming clan. First rank on the Grand Mist ranking. He was once the #1 powerhouse in the universal world. If he could obtain his inheritance, then he might be able to have a good fight with the God's tribe in the future. Elder Ming also placed his attention on the large grave of Ming Long and did not pay much attention to Long Fei. Furthermore, in his opinion, even if Long Fei was a descendant of the Ming clan, he was just a nobody and did not bring much hope to the Ming clan. Eorong said slightly, "Elder Ming, do you think the Zhao and Zhou families are looking for it?" The Netherworm said, "It's possible. Eorong, we have to find the Netherworm coffin first. We can't let the Ming clan's inheritance land on outsiders, especially the Zhao family. They're the dogs of the God's tribe." Elder Ming said worriedly, "Jinwu continent, in the most marginal plane of universal large world. Their Ming clan had been hiding here for who knows how long, so the appearance of the necropolis now gave him a sliver of hope." Eorong said, "Elder Ming, but Long Fei said that the person buried here might not be the Lord Ming Long. He said that there might be a trap inside." Elder Ming immediately shouted, "What does a wet behind-the-ears brat like him know? 4 high-level Ming clan beasts like the Dark Unicorn. The only ones who are qualified enough to guard their tombs are senior elders of the Ming clan or warrior. Furthermore, I have heard from you that the strength of the Dark Unicorn is still restricted by the seal, so it can be seen that the owner of the tomb must be extraordinary." Eorong did not say anything. Elder Ming was already starting to become a bit blind. He had lived for hundreds of years, and finally, he saw a glimmer of hope. After a long time, Eorong asked, "Elder Ming, is there any way to let Long Fei win?" Elder Ming shook his head and said, "It was he himself who wanted to gamble with his alchemy. This was his own choice. Eorong, you're a gifted soul of Underworld. You're the first person to become a gifted soul of Underworld after the fall of the Ming clan. Your mission is to rise up of the Ming clan and not to have the love of a girl. Even if this brat is a descendant of the Ming clan, you can't mess up your heart of the Underworld Phoenix for him. Understand? Gifted soul of Underworld, the #1 existence in the Ming clan." She was well aware of the mission Eorong had taken on. She was Ming clan's hope. Elder Ming said, "That kid isn't compatible with you, so don't spend any more time and effort on him." Eorong nodded, but he still couldn't let go of this matter in his heart. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2298, 7th Rank Grandmaster. Chapter 2298, 7th Rank Grandmaster Elder Ming left. He had to prepare to enter the 2nd floor of Xian Yu's secret territory. As for the matter that Eorong entrusted to him, he did not take it to heart. No matter how important Long Fei was, he wasn't as important as the inheritance of the Netherworm. With the inheritance of the Netherworm, there is hope for the rise of the Ming clan. Eorong stood on top of the cliff, quietly looked into the distance. Her eyes were a little dazed while her mind was filled with many thoughts, so many that even she herself did not know what she was thinking about. After a long time, Eorong clenched his fists as though he had made a decision. Then he turned around and left. 2 hours later, Pill Pavilion, Alchemy Room. "Grand Elder, the young sect master is here." The voice of a disciple came from outside the room. Changfeng was preparing his alchemy. Even though it was just a small Long Fei, he did not put it in his eyes. However, he would not give Long Fei even the slightest of hope. He would definitely crush Long Fei to death on the pill stage with a completely crushed posture. He wanted to take revenge. The corner of Chongfeng's mouth hooked up as he revealed a cold smile. Yurong, a alchemy boy said, "Master, what is young sect master doing here at this time?" Another alchemist said with a smile, "What else can I do? I must be begging you, master." Chongfeng was secretly pleased with himself. At this time, Yurong only appeared for one thing, and that was to beg him to spare Long Fei. And then, Chongfeng said indifferently, "I'm at alchemy. I won't see guests, so I can't be disturbed. Let her wait outside. If anything happens, wait for me to finish refining the pill first." "Yes, sir." The disciple's expression became slightly startled, and then quickly withdrew far away from the alchemy. Asked the young sect master to wait? It should be known that although Yurong was the young sect master, she was actually the sect master of the Xinyu sect. His status was supreme. Even if it was the great clan elder, Chongfeng couldn't be disrespectful to her. Now she had to wait outside. Chongfeng sneered and muttered, "Yurong, do you also have time to beg me? Ha ha ha, wait for me." The two alchemists also started laughing. Let her wait a little longer. What young sect master? If she doesn't have a master, then what is she? That's right. Without the support of master's medicinal pellets, she could control the Xinyu sect. She simply doesn't have the qualifications. Chongfeng's face was filled with pride. He had already guessed the purpose of Yurong's visit, and his heart was very pleased as he said, "Prepare your alchemy. Today is a good day. I want to break through to the 7th stage." A light flashed in the eyes of the two alchemists. They immediately replied, "Understood." Yurong's appearance made Chongfeng feel very good. He felt great, and maybe he could use this opportunity to break through. Yurong stood quietly outside the alchemy courtyard. She was ready when she came here. For Long Fei, she was willing to give up everything for the sake of that obsession in her heart. An hour passed. Yurong was still waiting. 2 hours passed. She was still waiting. Until nightfall, Yurong was still waiting outside the courtyard. "What did you say? Elder, he made you roam wait more than 5 hours?" Yu Wanshan's eyes shook and shouted, "How dare you? Isn't this Chongfeng too arrogant?" Wu Yi also said angrily, "Elder Yi is too much. After all, she's the young sect master. Is he embarrassing Yurong by doing this? Who would still respect her in the future?" Yu Wanshan said heavily, "No, I have to go and call Yurong back." Wu Yi caught it and said, "Senior brother Yu, could it be that you can't see it? Chongfeng was purposely making things difficult for Yurong, and Yurong had to wait for that brat long." Yu Wanshan said, "But even so, you can't do this, right? What was her identity? What is the prestige of the sect leader in the future? Could it be that Chongfeng is going to climb up to the sect master's level?" Very angry. 5 hours. It was dark now, but Chongfeng did not show any signs of coming out. Moreover, now that the entire sect knew about this matter, everyone was discussing it. It wasn't to say that Chongfeng was wrong, but that Yurong was willing to accept such humiliation for Long Fei. Was this the work of sect master? Not to mention, Long Fei had made a bet in front of everyone, and he had brought all of this upon himself. Now that Yurong had come to plead with him, what was this worth? To favor a disciple? What about the great elder? For a time, all sorts of rumors arose. I think the young sect master has his eyes on that kid. Maybe that brat is an illegitimate child of the master. As the big sister, the young sect master wants to protect his little brother. What's so good about that kid? I think it's a pile of dog shit. That kid stayed on the reflection cliff's face for a month. I heard that only the young sect master can see him. Maybe the two of them have already. Don't spout nonsense. The young sect master is the crown prince's consort. Does she want to give the crown prince green hair? Ha ha. All sorts of rumors and mocking laughter rang out. Some of the elders also joined in. If I were the grand elder, I would surely not see the young sect master. Young sect master, this is too much. That's right. Last month, she didn't ask for the pill house to stop working, but now she asked for a disciple. She said she was concerned about a disciple, so that's why she asked for that. Bullshit. Outside the alchemy courtyard, Eorong's maid said anxiously. Young sect master, let's go. The entire sect is talking about it now. You don't even know how unpleasant their words are. If you continue waiting like this, then your young sect master status. Maid pulled Eorong's arm. Eorong did not move, but asked, how is he? Him. Maid immediately said angrily, when I talk about him, I get angry. Do you know what he is doing right now? He tramples on wild flowers and wild grass everywhere, making him look like a fool. He doesn't know what you've done for him. Young sect master, let's go. Maid was puzzled as she observed Long Fei for an entire day. She didn't know what Long Fei was doing today. He started to graze everywhere, not even sparing the flowers now. Sometimes, he would not even let go of small animals. He was completely a person with a broken mental state. Eorong no longer asked, and instead said, I'm not doing all this for him. Maid asked, if it's not for him, then who is it for? Young sect master, stop lying to yourself. Everyone is saying that you have fallen for this fool. Eorong's pupils slightly moved and did not rush to explain himself as he silently thought in his heart. Do I like him? No, I don't like him. At this time, Elder Ming's warning voice sounded in her mind. You are a gifted soul of Underworld. His identity is not compatible with yours. You are burdened with the heavy responsibility of rising to prominence in the Ming clan. So you should put aside your relationship with your children. You need to be clear about your identity, your mission. Have a moment. Eorong said, go back and protect him. Mei did not agree. At this moment, a clear hum came from the alchemy courtyard. This was the sound coming from the pill furnace. At the same time, a clear and excited laugh came out from the furnace. Ha ha. Ha ha. This old man has broken through. Chapter 2299, Awards. Chapter 2299, Awards. Ha. Ha. Ha ha. Excited laughter sounded out. Yichang Feng was in high spirits. His face was flushed with happiness, and his eyes revealed an expression of disdain towards everything. We finally made it. 7th rank. Now, my alchemy technique has reached the 7th stage. Ha ha! An indescribable excitement. The two alchemists immediately kneeled on the ground and said, Congratulations, Master. Master, she ascendant level 7 alchemy master. Good, good, good. The two of you will be rewarded. Yichang Feng laughed. There were not many 7th grade alchemy masters, even in the entirety of Zhaogua. Grade 6 to 7 was a hurdle. Now that he had broken through, his status was completely different. Now, even if he did not request for it, the Zhao family would probably look for him. A 7th rank alchemy master was an extremely rare sight. Even the number 1 sect in Zhaogua's territory only had 2 7th rank alchemy masters. Moreover, they were all old men who were at the age of 100, with very little alchemy. Furthermore, he was only around 60 years old. If he was given sufficient resources, he might be able to reach the 8th or even 9th grade alchemy master in time, an existence that looked down on the world. Master, the young sect master is still outside. Dan Tong said lightly. Yichang Feng laughed and said, Ha! I really have to thank her for breaking through to the 7th rank today. If not for the fact that Eorong's appearance had changed his mental state, he might not have been able to break through. He had already been stuck at the 6th stage for 10 years. He had thought that in this lifetime, he would never be able to break through again, which was why he had sought the position of Imperial Advisor and wanted to use the Emperor's Qi of the Zhao family to break through. He didn't expect to break through today. Another alchemist said, let her wait a little longer. In the past, looking at her attitude, she did not put master in her eyes at all. Now, even she, Eorong, a 7th stage alchemy master, has to kneel down and curry favor with her. Yichang Feng laughed. After waiting for so long, it's enough. Let's go and see why this young and promising young sect master is here. Let's go. And then, Yichang Feng walked out of the pill room in large strides. If he did not make a breakthrough, he would make Eorong continue to wait. However, now that he had broken through to the 7th stage, he wished that he could appear in front of Eorong and be complacent. The door of the alchemy courtyard opened. Eorong turned around and looked at Yi Changfeng, who had walked out. He immediately said, "Congratulations, Elder Yi, for breaking through the 7th stage and becoming an alchemy grandmaster. A 6th-stage alchemist. However, a 7th grade alchemy grandmaster. Two completely different concepts." Yi Changfeng's face could not hide his glee as he said, "Young sect master, why have you come? You couldn't have known that I broke through the 7th level and came here in advance to congratulate me, right?" There was a strange tone in his words. There was a mocking, disdainful look in his eyes. Even the maid beside Yi Yurong could see that. They tugged on Yi Yurong's arm and said softly, "Young sect master, we should still go." Yi Yurong did not pay attention to him. He looked at Yi Changfeng, who had yet to come down from the stairs, and said, "Elder Yi is extremely talented. Breaking through the 7th rank is only a matter of time. The reason I'm here is because of the alchemy competition. Even a 6th-stage Long Fei was not a match for him. Now, Yi Changfeng had even broken through the 7th rank and become an alchemy grandmaster. Long Fei was even more not a match for him. He was definitely going to lose. Yi Changfeng intentionally stood on the stairs. He was now a master in alchemy. Forget about Yi Yurong. Even her father, Yi Lucian, had to be respectful to him. Moreover, this was his stance. Higher than others. Yi Changfeng said, "It's an alchemy competition. It's a life wager due to alchemy. There's nothing much to discuss about this." Yi Yurong said, "Great clan elder. He is only a teenager. How would he know what alchemy is?" Without waiting for Yi Yurong to finish speaking, Yi Changfeng immediately interrupted. "Angry words? Humph. You want to vent your anger after killing the 4 disciples of the elite Hall S. You're angry that you broke my arm? And you even swore to take my life? Are you angry about this?" Yi Yurong's brows tightened and said, "Regarding these, I will punish him severely. I will definitely give you a satisfactory answer." Yi Changfeng laughed. "My most satisfied answer is that I want him dead." Yi Yurong raised his brows and said, "Great elder, you have also seen the potential of his martial arts training. From the time it takes to refine his body to the current level of the 8th grade of the blood refinement realm, give him a little more time. At that time, when he attends participating in the Gods sect gathering, he will definitely bring honor to the Xianyu sect." Yi Changfeng said, "Right now, I am considering the general situation of the Xianyu sect. If we remove this kind of disaster earlier, the Xianyu sect will be better off. Look at how many things have happened since he entered the Xianyu sect. This child must be eliminated." His words were firm. He hated Long Fei to the bones. Yi Yurong let out a light breath and said, "Great elder, if he has offended you, I am willing to bring him to apologize on your behalf." As soon as he finished, Yi Changfeng was shocked. The faces of his surrounding disciples slightly shook. The young sect master is apologizing? This was no ordinary matter. Maid immediately pulled Yi Yurong back and said, "Young sect master, you can't." Yi Changfeng was extremely pleased with himself as he said, "Apologize?" Yi Yurong bowed and said, "Great clan elder, I am sorry." "Ha ha!" Yi Changfeng immediately laughed out loud. He was extremely pleased as he watched Yi Yurong bow to him. It felt so good. Even in his dreams, he would dream of this moment. However, Yi Changfeng's laughter suddenly stopped, and he shouted, "You're going to apologize, and that's it? Will I forgive you if you apologize?" "Humph. It's not that simple." Yi Changfeng felt great in his heart, but he must take Long Fei's life. He absolutely could not allow to have another chance to threaten him. His beloved Earth-ranked divine weapon, the Feng Tiandao seal, was destroyed. He had nearly died several times. He would definitely not keep such a hidden danger. Just as Yi Changfeng was about to speak, Yi Yurong's right hand suddenly sank. The Xianyu underworld wheel was released. Yi Changfeng's face shook as he asked, "What are you trying to do?" The surrounding disciples also revealed fear. Xianyu underworld wheel S were extremely ferocious. Heaven-ranked divine weapons were not a joke. The entire Pill Pavilion combined probably wouldn't be a match for him. At this time, Yi Yurong took off the Xianyu underworld wheel in his hand and said, "Since he destroyed your Feng Tiandao seal, I will use the Xianyu underworld wheel to apologize to you." Yi Changfeng's eyes darkened. He stared straight at the Xianyu underworld wheel in Yi Yorong's hand, his eyes gleaming with greed. Xianyu underworld wheel, the most precious treasure of the sect. This was personally rewarded to her by Yi Yorong for breaking through the golden protector level at the age of 18. It could be said, the Xianyu underworld wheel was Yi Yorong's most beloved object. At the same time, it also had another explanation, which was the identity of the sect master. Chapter 2300 Rabbit Poop Pills. Chapter 2300 Rabbit Poop Pills, Xianyu Underworld Wheel. Owners can say that identity is extremely important. Moreover, who wouldn't want a heaven-ranked divine weapon? Even if Yi Changfeng was a pill cultivator, his drooling over Xianyu Underworld Wheel S was not something that could be done in a day or two. It was tens of thousands of times better than the Fong Tiandao seal. Yi Changfeng was stunned. He never thought that Yi Yorong would actually be willing to give up his Xianyu Underworld Wheel for Long Fei's sake. This was far beyond his expectations. The surrounding disciples were all shocked as well. Maid said, "Young sect master, you can't. Your father rewarded you, and he is the first treasure of Xianyu sect." Without waiting for Maid to finish, Yi Yorong looked at Yi Changfeng and said, "Great elder, as long as you are willing to let Long Fei go, this Xianyu underworld wheel will be yours." His words were firm. Yi Changfeng couldn't control his hands beneath his sleeves and wished that he could catch them right away. The look in his eyes was one of incomparable desire. However, Yi Changfeng laughed coldly and said, "You wrong. You're underestimating my Yi Changfeng." There was ambition in his eyes. He was very ambitious. He wanted the Xianyu underworld wheel to be, at the same time, the Xianyu sect. He also wanted to become a state grandmaster and even an outer disciple of the God's tribe. Moreover, the fact that Yi Yorong took out the Xianyu underworld will also showed how much weight he held in her heart. Yi Yorong asked, "Great clan elder, what else do you want?" Yi Changfeng said indifferently, "Yorong, I once said that a woman isn't suitable to be sect master because a woman is too intimate with her children." Maid shouted, "Great elder, don't go overboard." The meaning was too simple. Other than Xianyu Underworld Wheel S, he also wanted the position of sect master. His meaning was to make Yi Yorong abdicate. Yi Changfeng coldly glanced at the maid and laughed. "Too much. Who do you think you are? Do you think you are qualified to talk to me? I'm a 7th rank alchemy master now, let alone a small Xianyu sect. Even if it's the Zhao family or even the sect of Infinitas, I still have more things than here. Do you understand?" Maid wanted to speak up, but was stopped by Yi Yorong. Yi Yorong asked, "Do you really want me to abdicate?" Yi Changfeng said, "You should abdicate and be at ease as your princess consort. I will bring Xianyu sect to its peak." "Yorong, you can think about it, and then talk to me. Remember, you only have 2 days. Once I get on the pill stage, you won't have much time." Yi Changfeng laughed out loud. Haha. He was extremely pleased with himself. Yi Yorong's face darkened. His expression was ugly. This was the first time Yi Changfeng had seen this kind of expression on his face, and this made him feel even better in his heart. Yi Yorong turned and left. Yi Changfeng laughed. "Think carefully, huh?" When Yi Yorong completely disappeared into the darkness, he let out an excited cry. "Awesome! Yi Yorong, you have such a day? You've come to beg me for some time, haven't you?" "Ha ha!" At this time, Zhao Etian walked out with a pleased smile on his face. "Great elder, I saw it too. Even Yi Yorong bowed to apologize to you." "Ha ha ha!" Yi Changfeng immediately walked forward and said, "Your Highness." Zhao Etian was also courteous. "Sai, you are now a 7 rating alchemist, and with your status, you can pay your respects to an official. You don't need to call me your Highness. You can just call me by my name." The 7 rating alchemist had a very prestigious identity. Moreover, at this time, Zhao Etian was very clear about his own situation. He had to rely on Yi Changfeng. Yi Changfeng became even more pleased with himself and said, "I want her to kneel down to me in the future." Zhao Etian said, "Great clan elder, I heard from my family that Yi Yorong's cultivation is not simple. Are you not afraid of her? What this world cared about was martial arts. No matter how strong one's alchemy cultivation was, it could not transform into strength. Yurong dealt with Yi Changfeng easily. Just one hand was enough. However, Yi Changfeng had already thought about this a long time ago, and said, even if you give her 10 times the guts, she wouldn't dare. She didn't dare to do it in the past, and now that I have become an alchemy grandmaster, she doesn't dare to do it even more. Think about it. When the Pill Pavilion stops operating for a month, Xin Yu's sect won't be able to take it. If I'm not here anymore, Xin Yu's sect would be paralyzed. Kill me? Humph. She, Yurong, doesn't have that ability. Even her father, Ilu Xian, would not dare to do anything to me. Yi Changfeng was very clear. All these years, he had also been training his own forces and suppressing those little alchemy masters that he could not control to the point where they could never get up. The entire pill house was tightly controlled by him. Zhao Etian heard and said, aha, I was overthinking it. Yi Changfeng said, Your Highness, there are still 2 more days. I will definitely let that brat die on the pill platform. Ha ha! The two of them burst into laughter at the same time. Ding! Refining failed. Proficiency is increased by 1. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level 3. Ooh! Long Fei wiped the sweat off his forehead, exhaled slightly, and said, I'm already at level 3. There are still 2 days left. I have to speed up. In less than a day, his alchemy technique broke through the 3rd level. He was a complete monster. Moreover, no one would have thought that he used some weeds and wildflowers to come to the alchemy. The system was too overpowered. Is a 6-stage alchemy really that awesome? Acting cool in front of me? Let's see how you will continue acting cool then. Long Fei said fiercely in his heart. As long as he had this system, he was fearless. Ooh. Long Fei exhaled and said, continue. At this moment, Yurong walked out from the darkness. Long Fei looked at Yurong and jokingly asked, Wifey, why are you here? Yurong's face was ashen, cold. There was a murderous look in his eyes. Since she was young, only Yurong dared to bully others. No one had ever dared to bully her. Today, Yi Changfeng had made her very unhappy. However, but she had to hold it in. Seeing that Yurong's expression was not right, Long Fei could not help but say, Old wife, who bullied you? Tell me, I'll take revenge for you. Yurong walked over to Long Fei's side and coldly asked, What are you doing? Long Fei scratched his head and laughed. In alchemy, Yurong looked at the pile of withered yellow grass and wildflowers surrounding Long Fei. She really couldn't understand what Long Fei was doing. Alchemy? Grass, wildflower alchemy? What kind of pill is this? Yurong said, Have you finished refining it? Long Fei mysteriously smiled as he took out a handful from his bosom and placed it in front of Yurong and said, That's it. Although he had always failed, there were times where he had succeeded, but the chances of that was low. In Long Fei's hand was the pellet he had refined today only. It looked a little like rabbit shit, with the smell of grass fermenting. Yurong asked, What pill is this? Long Fei said, This pill is amazing. Don't underestimate this pill. Its effects are extraordinary, just like this pill. Long Fei pointed to a black pellet and said, Its effect is to stop pain, it can stop any kind of pain, it can even break limbs. Formidable, right? The work of this young master must be powerful. Long Fei did not see the loneliness in Yurong's eyes, nor did he see the disappointment. This pill is for you. Long Fei didn't care about whether Yurong agreed or not, and directly pushed the pill in her hands and asked, What are you doing here? Yurong laughed bitterly and said, I just came to see you. Finished. She turned and walked back into the darkness, leaving with disappointment. Long Fei did not take it seriously and said, Continue with your alchemy. The 6th rank is nothing. I want to become a 7th, 8th, 9th rank pill refiner. Chapter 23:01 Inviting Master to Come Out? Chapter 23:01 Inviting Master to Come Out? I thought he was crazy. Young sect master for such a man. Is a disciple worth it? Maid walked behind Yurong. She did not understand Yurong. What was there to love about a silly man like Long Fei? His cultivation was very strong. Could he compare to Zhao Haoyan, who was like the real Long Tianzi? Strong talent? Could he be a Tongshan that was comparable to a sect of Infinitas's divine origin blood vein? Appearance? He looked like a fool and was completely unremarkable in the crowd. If such a man had no looks, if he had no strength, why would he like him? Then again, who was Yurong? The daughter of heaven, the number one beauty on Zhao was body. Which part of Long Fei was worthy of her? There was no comparison at all. She was also a woman. If she had to choose, even if she picked the wrong one, she wouldn't choose someone like Long Fei. Yurong did not say anything and just walked forward. In her hand, she was still holding the rabbit poop pill that Long Fei had given her and gently massaging it between her fingers. She did not lose it. Of course, she did not treat it as a pill, but it was because of what Long Fei had given her, and she did not want to throw it away. Young sect master, just ignore him. If you do it again, you'll throw yourself in. Let's just consider it as Xianyu sect. Maid followed closely behind him to persuade him. Yurong still did not reply and continued to walk forward. "Ooh, I'm going to continue." Long Fei exhaled. A faint smile hung on his lips as he muttered to himself. She's injured. Consuming that medicinal pellet should be able to stop the pain. I'll think of a way to treat her later. Heh. Throughout the entire day, Long Fei constantly failed and only made use of a few times that he tried to use alchemy that carried knowledge of alchemy. What he did not expect was the success rate was actually 100%. Moreover, the attributes of the pills that were refined were extremely abnormal. After all, this was a medicinal pill made from wild grass and flowers, and it actually had attributes, and it was very abnormal. Take the pill Long Fei gave Yurong, for example. That pill had stopped all the pain from her body, as though it was anesthetic, and she could not feel any pain at all. For the world of Zhenwu continent, there was no such pill. Although the grade of the pill was not high, its attributes were extremely powerful. However, Long Fei's method of using the heaven and earth as a stove and naturally as a fire was simply too exhausting, and it was extremely uncomfortable for his mental energy to be emptied out. Every time he finished refining, he would have to rest for a while before he could recover. That kind of alchemy technique was too powerful. Long Fei's body was still unable to fully adapt to it. Continue. Ding. Refinement failed. Proficiency +1 ding. Refining failed. Proficiency is increased by 1. Ding, ding, ding. The system continuously rang out failed after failed notifications, and Long Fei continued to play. As soon as the cooldown time came, it was immediately cast. He was practicing to the point where he blacked out and fell into a state of madness. From the looks of it, he really did look like a lunatic. Grand Elder, that kid stayed in the mountain for an entire day. He's just like a fool there. A disciple reported. Yurong sent someone to protect Long Fei. Yichangfeng was also sending people to monitor Long Fei. He wanted to know what Long Fei was doing, and at the same time, he wanted to make sure that Long Fei did not escape the Xinyu sect. Like a fool, Yichangfeng sneered and said, "Who cares about him? Even if he's the same as my grandson, he'll still die on the pill platform. He definitely must die. That dog doesn't know anything about alchemy. Didn't he borrow the alchemy technique from the martial pavilion? Until now, I have never seen him refine a medicinal pellet, so he simply does not understand alchemy." That disciple tried to curry favor with him. Yichangfeng laughed complacently. "Not everyone understands alchemy, just him. Give him 100 years, and he won't be able to surpass me. All right, you don't need to keep an eye on him, as long as you guard the various gates and don't let him escape." Yichangfeng said indifferently, as long as Long Fei was in Xinyu sect. If he were to escape, then he also had a way to force Yurong. This time, no matter what, he would make Yurong abdicate the throne. At this time, one of the disciples came back and said, "Great Elder, everything that you've told us has been spread out. In these 2 days, all the disciples in Xianyu sect will know about the young sect master bowing and apologizing to you." "All right," Yichangfeng said excitedly. "Yurong, I want to make you the target of public criticism. I would like to see how you, as the young sect master, can sit down. Yi Changfeng laughed loudly. At this time, a few more elders walked into the alchemy courtyard. One of the elders said, "Great elder, this is the 7th grade spirit grass sky origin flower that I have been collecting for many years. This is a spirit grass cultivator. This is the golden palace spirit root. This is—" They were all licking Yi Changfeng's ass and provided him with all kinds of spirit grass. With the spirit grass, he would be like a tiger with wings. The quality of spirit pellets was directly related to the spirit grass's level. A high-level spirit grass would be able to refine high-level spirit pellets. And in this alchemy competition, they would be competing on who would refine higher-level spirit pellets. Ha ha ha. Good. Just wait for me to crush that brat to the ground and climb on the pill platform. Ha ha. Yi Changfeng did not reject any of them. The pill pavilion peak was brightly lit and abuzz with activity. Looking at the noisy pill pavilion, Yuan Shan laughed bitterly and said, "Did you see that? Out of over 100 elders in Xianyu sect, at least 90 of them went to the pill pavilion." Wu Yi said, "They are acting on the surface. Sigh. This is the human heart." Yuan Shan sighed and said, "Young sect master treats them so well, but at this critical juncture, he treats them like this. It really makes one's heart cold." Wu Yi said, "It was Yi Changfeng who pushed the matter of young sect master bowing and apologizing to him to the best of his ability, causing public opinion to spread and made young sect master the target of public criticism." Yuan Shan was flustered. "Why do you think that brat has to compete with him in alchemy? Isn't this courting death? I really don't understand." Along clearly knows that Yi Changfeng is the great elder of the Pill Pavilion, the strongest alchemy master of the Xianyu sect, and yet she wants to compete with him in alchemy. Isn't it obvious that he's tired of living? Wu Yi said, "Everyone has been young and vigorous. This is a very normal thing." Yuan Shan said, "But isn't this a bit too much? You want to throw your life away?" Wu Yi said, "This isn't much. I'm worried that not only will Long throw his life away, he will also let young sect master put everything into it." Yuan Shan's eyes darkened as he said, "Tell me, should we ask the sect master to come out of seclusion? The Grand Master has come out of seclusion." Wu Yi's expression tensed up. Yuan Shan slightly said, "Yi Changfeng is no longer afraid of the young sect master. But if he is, no matter how much more courage he has, Yi Changfeng will still be extremely afraid. Who wouldn't be afraid of the super powerhouse of the Zhenwu realm?" The two of them looked at each other, their eyes flashing. Chapter 23:02. This daddy is giving it his all. Chapter 23:02. This daddy is giving it his all at daybreak. Ding. Refining failed. Proficiency is increased by 1. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up to level 4. Another level up. It feels so good. Long Fei became excited. It was fortunate that it had the core of the green-furred, gold-bodied zombie, allowing him to use the true qi limitlessly, so he did not have to worry about the consumption of the true qi. Continue. Long Fei once again immersed himself into cultivation. Period. A few elders secretly observed Long Fei, and after watching him for less than half a minute, they immediately turned around and left. In their opinion, either Long Fei had gone mad or he was just an idiot. Compete with the great clan elder in alchemy? It was destined to be a hopeless situation. This made many of the elders choose to stand by the side. He chose Yi Changfeng. Furthermore, the elders who went to the pill pavilion last night had all received Yi Changfeng's pills. Standing together with Long Fei, that would be courting death. For the rest of the day, probably only Yuan Shan and Wu Yi, the two clan elders, did not go to the pill house. Long Fei did not know about what happened in Xianyu sect, nor did he know that Yurong had bowed and apologized to Yi Changfeng for him. Raise the level of the alchemy technique. The day passed. In the evening, ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for training alchemy technique to level up. Current level 5. Fifth grade alchemy technique, Long Fei said excitedly. I remember Yi Changfeng is a 6th-ranked alchemy master, right? I'll level up a few more times. Continue. It didn't matter if he did one thing, but if he kept repeating the same thing, then it would be too boring. Long Fei had been repeating it again and again for a whole 2 days. He didn't even know how many times he had repeated it. It was so boring that it made people go crazy. However, as long as they could crush Yi Changfeng, as long as they could avenge Xiao Dai, Thin Monkey, the big guy, Qingyo, and the black scale carving, Long Fei would be able to hold on no matter how boring it was. He was such a person. He could bear all the pain and suffering that came with this goal. Bullying my people? If you dare touch my brother and bully my sister, if I can't kill you, then I won't be called Long Fei. Continue. Yurong's courtyard. Yurong stood in the pavilion and watched the fish swimming happily in the pond. Her heart was incomparably envious, without any worries or pressure, and just swimming happily like this was just too comfortable. Her brain was about to explode. There were a lot of things bothering him. The black scale carving had consumed quite a few high-class healing pills, but none of them were effective and could only keep her alive. There was no sign of recovery at all. Furthermore, she could not find a way either. The black scale carving's injuries were too severe, and her internal organs were all injured. Unless there was a 6th or 7th grade spirit herb, it was impossible to recover. This kind of high-level medicine could only help the black scale carving recover from its injuries, and its cultivation would never be able to break through again. Then again, the positions of the numerous elders of Xian Yu sect caused her heart to slightly tremble. It wasn't a cold heart. It was because of Yi Changfeng's methods. This competition was destined to be a crushing defeat for her. It seemed like he was sparring with Long Fei and, at the same time, gambling with her. As long as Long Fei lost, she would also be dragged into the water, and the elders would definitely work together to make her abdicate. What should I do? Yurong couldn't think of a way. Right now, she was definitely going to lose. The only way to turn the match into a victory was for Long Fei to win. But how could Long Fei win? What could he use to win? He didn't even have the slightest chance of winning. No matter what, I will guarantee that you won't die. Yurong exhaled. Her eyes turned sinister as the true qi in her body surged. Suddenly, her face changed. His right hand touched his abdomen, a strong stab of pain. There was a moment of silence. Yurong released his hand and glanced at his palm. There was some black blood on it. Every time the true qi surged into the wound on her abdomen, it would tear, and the poison from the limitless burning sword would still remain in her body. She had been struggling to persevere for the past few days. She didn't know how much longer she could hold on. Another day passed. There was only one night left until the life wager competition at alchemy. Ding! Alchemy failed. Proficiency +1. The system sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for training alchemy technique to level up. Current level 6. Huff! Long Fei let out a heavy breath. Fuck! I finally broke through. I almost lost control of my cultivation. This is 2F** King unbearable. 6th grade. Now Long Fei had become a 6th-stage alchemist. Looking at the 6th stage of alchemy technique, Long Fei laughed softly and said, Yi Changfeng, I am now a 6th-stage alchemy master as well. Let's make a trip home first. Just give these few pills to them. Long Fei was worried about Xiao Dai and the others' injuries, worried that he would mess around. And then, he jogged all the way back to the desolate hillside. He glanced at the green ox in the stall. He was still lying there and hadn't gotten up for the past few days. Long Fei hurriedly put down the big bundle of grass and muttered, It seems that Uncle Gue has not come back yet. Old cow, get up and eat. There's a pill inside the grass. Eat it yourself. I will go take a look at Xiao Dai and the others. Long Fei put down the grass and immediately ran into the house. Seeing Long Fei enter, Xiao Dai sat up with difficulty and asked, Along, where have you been these past 2 days? I asked Sister Yi, but she didn't tell me. Long Fei was startled and said, Yurong came over? At least she has some conscience and knows how to take care of you. Xiao Dai continued. Sister Yi's expression doesn't seem good, as though his mind is very heavy. Did something big happen? Thin Monkey said, I am definitely worried about the competition between Boss and Yi Chongfeng's alchemy. The big-sized man said, Boss, I heard from young Sect Master that Yi Chongfeng broke through the day before yesterday. He is already a 7-rating alchemist. F***CK. Isn't that a bit too fast? Long Fei's face froze for a moment and looked a little unprepared. He thought to himself, no wonder Yi Yurong had an ugly expression back then. No way, I want to break through again. And then, Long Fei put down the 3 pills and said, 1 per person. With that, Long Fei walked out with big strides. Xiao Dai was anxious. Along, where are you going? Long Fei replied, I'm going to do something big. I don't believe it. Rank 7 Grandmaster? I will definitely be taller than you. Long Fei's heart was filled with anger. He was extremely dissatisfied and quickly rushed down the desolate hill. He came to the valley. Only one night. If I want to reach level 7, that won't be enough. And rank 7 is not enough. I need to reach level 8. If I don't crush Yi Chongfeng, I will not be in a good mood. Long Fei thought, let's try out the alchemy of my hands. This way my speed will double. Even if his speed had doubled, it would still not be enough. Upgrading from level 7 to level 8 required even more proficiency. Yes, it was simply impossible. Unless Long Fei clenched his teeth and said, I'm going all out. Men should be more cruel to themselves. Chapter 2303. Today is my big day. Chapter 2303. Today is my big day dawn. Pill Pavilion Peak. The place was bustling with noise and excitement. It was even more lively than the last rookie selection. Before, Pill Pavilion Peak was never open to the public, so ordinary disciples had no right to enter. This time, even service disciples could enter Pill Pavilion Peak. Yi Chongfeng wanted to make this matter bigger so that everyone who had seen it would know. I heard that young Sect Master has kneeled down and is begging the elder, Yi. He's more than kneeling down. I heard that he gave up the position of Xianyu Underworld Wheel and young Sect Master, but Elder Yi did not agree. He just wanted to teach that brat who doesn't know how high the sky and how deep the earth is. Young school head, it's true. For a mere little disciple, you actually kneeled so low. Do you even have the authority of a school head? If this gets out, where would the face of the Xianyu sect be? This is too embarrassing. I wouldn't dare to say that I'm a disciple of the Xianyu sect in the future, even if I had to go out. 2 or 3 disciples had gathered around and were discussing. The news became more and more outrageous. Just say that Yi Yurong is going to kneel before Yi Chongfeng. Yi Yurong's position had plummeted, and many people started to despise him. After all, she was the young sect master. To put it bluntly, she was the future sect master of Xianyu sect. If you want my opinion, then blame it on that boy. He's simply courting death. Exactly. Why do you think a new disciple like him is so arrogant? A new disciple should have the consciousness of a new disciple. Not only have they killed an elite disciple, they also want to challenge the great clan elder. The young school head is doing this because of him. Otherwise, why would he do this? Say, do you guys think that the young sect master is really having an affair with that fool? Otherwise, why would she be so protective of that fool? What's so good about that fool? High cultivation? Handsome? Even I can't compare to him. Who knows? Maybe young sect master will have such a good mouth. Don't spout nonsense. The young sect master is the future crown prince's consort. Aren't you afraid of the law enforcement hall by slandering the young sect master like that? Hee, I was just joking. Let's not talk about young sect master. Let's talk about the alchemy competition this time. Needless to say, even if that kid were to cultivate for another 100 years, he would still not be able to compare to a single finger of Grand Elder. Who is he? He has the qualifications to challenge the Great Elder. If I were the Great Elder, I would not even pay attention to him. It would simply be an insult. Just you wait, that kid's life must be lost here. I'm looking forward to starting now. Outside the Pill Pavilion, a large plaza was filled with disciples. Within the Pill Pavilion, Yi Changfeng had changed into a gorgeous robe, his hair tied up in a bun. It was bright and clean without the slightest bit of disorder. His eyes shone with a brilliant light. His spirit was full of energy as he looked at Senior Dan's thousands of disciples, and the corner of his mouth revealed a proud smile. Today was his big day. He must make me well. Zhao Yiqian smiled slightly and said, "Great Elder, today's lineup is only to help you ascend to the position of sect master." "Ha ha!" Yi Changfeng laughed. An elder said, "It's even more grand than when the sect leader ascended to the throne. Last time, Yirong was just a few people when he was the young sect master." Yi Changfeng was unable to conceal the joy and happiness on his face as he said, "Today's matter is a success. You are all meritorious ministers, so the reward will naturally be great." The few elders immediately said, "Thank you, great elder." "That's not right. It should be thanks to sovereign." And then the few elders said in unison, "Thank you, sect leader." "Master." Yi Changfeng gently bit this word as his heart grew more excited. His heart grew ecstatic as he thought to himself, "After today, I will be the sect master of the Xianyu sect. Ha ha! Sect master, sect master. Ha!" Yi Changfeng said indifferently, "Has Yirong made any movements yet?" An elder replied, "What can she do? She hasn't come out in the past 2 days. I think she has given up. I suspect that she won't even be here." "Ha! She must be scared by now." Yi Changfeng said, "No matter how far she goes, today I will make her abdicate." "If she doesn't abdicate," another elder immediately said, "Great clan elder, don't worry. Disciples of the elite hall is already prepared. We will follow your orders anytime." Yi Changfeng had been preparing these past few days. From the moment he had broken through to become a 7th-grade alchemy master, his ambition had started to expand. His ambition was completely exposed. Now he had the capital to do it, or not to do it. He wanted to reach the heavens in one step. Yi Changfeng laughed. "All right. Right now, the Xianyu sect was already in his control, and the 100 over elders had all followed his orders, adding the disciples of the elite hall. No matter what happened today, he would be the winner. He had waited decades for this day. Today's dream was about to come true. On a barren hillside. "Boss, why aren't you back yet?" The thin monkey paced around the courtyard anxiously. The big guy was squatting outside the yard, murmuring, "The boss will definitely come back." Qinyo also said, "Boss will definitely come back. Today we must teach that old thing a lesson." Xiao Dai still could not react in time, because the 3 pellets that Long Fei gave them looked like bunny poop, but after consuming them, their injuries quickly recovered, and it took them an entire night to recover. And there were no side effects. This was not something that an ordinary pill could do. Xiao Dai muttered, "Does a Long really know alchemy?" Thin Monkey said, "Yesterday's pill was too mystical. Was it refined by Boss? If that's the case, then Boss is way too powerful." The big guy said innocently, "It must have been made by the Boss." "It has to be the Boss," Azurok said. Xiao Dai looked into the distance. "Along, where are you? Why aren't you back yet?" In another place, Eorong's courtyard. She had changed her clothes. It wasn't a beautiful dress, but a tight suit, especially tight around the stomach. Her tight clothes made her figure appear even more striking. This attire meant that she was already prepared. Looking in the direction of the Pill Pavilion Peak, Eorong's brows secretly furrowed. At this moment, she was still holding the pill that Long Fei had given her, and had not consumed it yet. "Huff! This is the last time I'll help you. After today, I'll pay you back what I owe you," Eorong muttered, as the image of Long Fei's foolishness was imprinted in his mind. He just couldn't let it go. But this time, no matter how difficult it was, she had to let it go. Firstly, her status was not allowed. Second, her mission. From today onwards, she would send Long Fei out of the Xianyu sect, and it was likely that they would never meet again in this lifetime. Finished. Eorong walked out with large strides. In the valley, ding. Refinement successful. Proficiency +3 ding. Refinement successful. Proficiency +3. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei. Chapter 2304, Killing the Magic Tribe, Killing Long Fei. Chapter 2304, Killing the Magic Tribe, Killing Long Fei. Grand Elder, Grand Elder, Grand Elder. Sir Dan, the disciples suddenly shouted. His voice was loud and domineering. Under the shouts of the crowd, Yi Changfeng slowly walked out of the pill house and walked in front of it, pressing down on it with both of his hands. The thousands of people in the hall quickly quieted down. Yi Changfeng coughed lightly and said, "Thank you all for coming here, but I will definitely give you all an explanation today. I will definitely punish the murderer, and I will definitely punish the murderer who disturbed the sect. I will definitely make this magic tribe regret coming to this world." As soon as he finished, one of the disciples shouted loudly, "Kill magic tribe, kill Long Fei. Kill the magic tribe, kill Long Fei. Kill the magic tribe, kill Long Fei." One wave after another. The current Long Fei had already become a member of the magic tribe. His bloody and brutal method had already been demonized by many of the disciples. Yi Changfeng was very satisfied with this scene. And then, Yi Changfeng pressed down with both hands again and said, "From today onwards, all the disciples will have their monthly tests doubled. I swear in the name of the 7-rating alchemist, I will definitely make the Xianyu sect stronger, and every disciple in the Xianyu sect will receive more cultivation pellets." When these words came out, everyone present was stunned. And then, a deafening sound exploded. "Grand Elder, Grand Elder, Grand Elder." The sound echoed through the clouds. It made everyone's blood boil. "Great Elder, this is great. Grand Elder, your lifespan is 100 years. Great Elder, you are mighty. Grand Elder, I love you. A 7th grade alchemy master. There aren't many people in the entire Zhaohua, so this competition is definitely going to be won by the great clan elder. That brat is just waiting to die. Ha ha ha, I can't wait any longer." It had to be said that Yi Changfeng's move had won over many people's hearts. With the stimulation of the spirit pellets and the status of the 7-rating alchemist, every single disciple became excited. In their hearts, the status of great clan elder had already become high and mighty, surpassing even young sect master Yuron. In the distance, Yuan Shan and Wu Yi walked over, and upon seeing the scene before them, they looked at each other. They couldn't help but be secretly shocked in their hearts. When Yi Changfeng saw them, he revealed a smile of someone in power and said, "My 2 junior brothers are here." Yuan Shan coldly snorted and said, "Isn't it just a competition of alchemy? You have to make such a big scene? These people don't need to cultivate?" Displeased was written all over his face. Yuan Shan glared at the few artifact pavilion disciples and bellowed, "You don't need to refine anymore. Don't you need to cultivate anymore?" Yi Changfeng smiled blandly. "Junior brother you, everyone has come here to see how I will punish the murderer. Young sect master, protect him. Last time we killed 4 people, we did not receive any punishment. This time I will not let you off lightly. Kill to pay with my life." Exactly. This kind of demon cannot stay in the Xianyu sect. He is magic tribe. Many disciples in the crowd shouted. Yuan Shan said, "Senior brother Ian, I was present at that time. You were the one who hurt me first, right? Furthermore, one of the Xianyu 4 swords was even pulled over by you to block that sword strike." Yi Changfeng's face sank and angrily interrupted. "Yuan Shan, what do you mean? Do you want to protect this magic tribe?" ASH*T bowl was directly taken down. Yuan Shan's eyes shook. He was not weak either and shouted, "Left side has a magic tribe. The right side has a magic tribe. Yi Changfeng, what proof do you have that he is a magic tribe? If there is no evidence, please take note of your words." Yi Changfeng shouted. In the Elite Halls Challenge competition, the cultivation technique he released was his devil art, and in the secret world's mouth, he used such a brutal method to kill 4 people in a row. Yuan Shan, once you protect him, are you also involved with the magic tribe? Yuan Shan glared at him. "You're slandering me." His entire body was filled with anger, and he was about to go berserk. Wu Yi immediately stepped forward and said, "Calm down. Don't be angry anymore." Yi Changfeng gave a cold snort and said slightly, "No one can stop the competition today. not even the sect master. I must kill that brat. Yuan Shan said angrily, "Who knows who will win and who will lose? Do you think that you, Yi Changfeng, will definitely win?" "Ha ha!" Yi Changfeng laughed loudly and said, "If I can't even win against trash like him, then I, Yi Changfeng, will wrench my head off." It was full of disdain. The surrounding elders also laughed. "Who the hell is that trash? Can you compare it to Elder Yi's? Elder, he can easily crush that kid. Is there even a need to compare? Just admit defeat." Yuan Shan choked with anger in his heart and said, "Can't you win against beheading Xie? Senior brother Yin, have you forgotten that this competition is a life wager?" Yi Changfeng laughed coldly. "Will I lose? It's you instead." Yi Changfeng looked at Yuan Shan and said, "You seem to really hope that brat won? If that's the case." Cough, cough. Yi Changfeng coughed and said loudly, "From today onwards, the Pill Pavilion will stop supplying the Artifact Pavilion disciples with any elixirs. They will not give any of them a single one. If the disciples of the Artifact Pavilion wish to obtain spiritual medicine to cultivate, then leave the Artifact Pavilion." As soon as he finished, the expressions of the disciples of the Artifact Pavilion changed, and they immediately thought about retreating from the Artifact Pavilion. To them, elixirs were too important. The reason why he was admitted into the sect was to have spiritual medicines to provide for his cultivation. Yi Changfeng's move meant that he was definitely going to die. Make him an Al-Qaeda, just like Gue Qingshan was back then. The reason why Gue Qingshan had been pushed into a corner was because he had offended Yi Changfeng. This was a move to force someone to their death. Yuan Shan's face was filled with anger as he shouted in a heavy tone, "Yi Changfeng." Yi Changfeng said complacently, "What's wrong? Are you in a bad mood?" "Ha ha, I'm feeling great. Aren't you standing up for that kid? Didn't you say that that brat could win? Tell him to give you alchemy, huh?" Yi Changfeng thought, "Fight with me? You think you're worthy?" One move was enough to kill Yuan Shan without a burial ground. There were no disciples. Thus, his Artifact Pavilion was crippled. At that time, the Artifact Pavilion would be like Gue Qingshan, a barren hill with grass growing on top of it. "You've gone too far." Yuan Shan was furious. He released the true qi and released it crazily. Yi Changfeng's expression changed. "You dare to make a move? You think I'm afraid of you?" Several elders immediately stood by Yi Changfeng's side to protect him. As long as Yuan Shan made a move, they would attack him at the same time. Even though Yuan Shan was strong, he was not a match for the few clan elders. It was also at this time. A voice rang out from afar. "Have you had enough trouble?" Yirong walked out fully dressed in clothes. Imperceptibly, her body carried a strong aura. Her appearance instantly crushed the entire audience's aura. His eyes were cold. He exuded a powerful aura. Yi Changfeng's heart trembled slightly. Seeing Yirong's appearance and how he was even dressed, he laughed coldly in his heart and said to himself, "I knew you were going to use force. This is even better." Chapter 2305, My Big Knife is Hungry. Chapter 2305, My Big Knife is Hungry. When Yirong appeared, the place immediately quietened down. In the past few days, they had been discussing her. In the hearts of many disciples, her position had been replaced by First Elder, but her dignity was still there, and powerful. Even the elders who were with Yi Changfeng had their heads lowered, as they did not dare to look up at Yirong. This was the aura. Yirong was a gifted soul of Underworld. Her body was emitting a strong aura, which was naturally able to suppress other auras. Yirong walked up to look at Yi Changfeng and said, "Elder Yi, why are there so many people? To watch the show?" Yi Changfeng said slightly, "I did not call him over." An elder said, "Young sect master, I was worried that Trash Along had lost and did not admit his loss." Yirong's eyes turned cold and said, "If you say he's a trash, then what are you? As an elder of the Xianyu sect, if you say that sect disciples are trash, then are you really a trash elder? From now on, you are no longer an elder of the Xianyu sect." The elder's expression changed, and he was about to get angry. However, being stared at back by Yi Changfeng, Chang Feng laughed faintly. Young sect master, when did that genius disciple appear? Could he have already escaped? At this time, another elder beside him said, First elder, don't worry. I've sealed all the exits. That kid won't be able to escape. Eorong's eyes turned cold as he stared at him and said, Elder Fong, the matters regarding the patrols don't seem to belong to you, right? Since you like looking at the gate so much, from today onwards, you will guard the gate for the Xinyu sect. The complexion of that elder also changed. He was an elder of the elite hall, and now he was guarding the entrance to the mountain. His anger flared up, and he shouted, Eorong, don't be too arrogant. Eorong laughed coldly and said, Calling young sect master by your name, your crime has increased, and you have been demoted to a service disciple. In addition, I'm telling you, I'm arrogant. What about it? You're going to bite me? She was the young sect master, and besides that, she was also the queen. How could she not vent her anger after holding it in for so many days? Elder Fong stared at him, trembling with anger. Who do you think you are? Chang Feng was worried that he would ruin his plans and immediately signaled for his disciples to drag him down. Chang Feng said coldly, Young sect master, is there any point in doing this? You want to start a civil war? You want to buy time for that, brat? Or should I say, you want to beg me to let that kid go? You wrong. I can give you a chance. Kneel down and kowtow an apology and hand over the positions of the Xianyu underworld wheel and young sect master. The person who humiliated him. Chang Feng naturally wanted to find an opportunity to humiliate them and bring them back. Finished. Chang Feng smiled lightly. Anyways, you've already begged the last time, so I'm begging you one more time. Not many people were there last time. This time, all of the sect's disciples were present. If she kneeled down to him, then Eorong simply didn't have any status at all. But Chang Feng did not understand Eorong. Eorong looked coldly at Chang Feng and said, Elder E, did your brain get flooded? Do I need to beg you for it, as the young sect master? Why do you have to make me kneel and kowtow to apologize? Have you not figured out your identity? You're just a great elder, and I am the young sect master, understand? I haven't investigated the matter of you framing me these past few days. If you dare to say something like that again, don't blame me for being rude. A complete 180-degree change. It was as if he had become a completely different person. Chang Feng was even a little confused. Last time, he even bowed and apologized to her. It's fake. The great elder framed him. Like I said, what status does the young sect master have? Why would he bow and apologize to him? Exactly. It seems like this great elder doesn't have any good intentions. Discussions could be heard everywhere as Chang Feng's expression turned ugly. However, Chang Feng was very calm. He was very clear in his heart that as long as the match continued, he would not be afraid. Eorong's attire explained everything, and at that time, as long as she won against Long Fei, she would reveal her true colors. He could not help but laugh. Young sect master, where is that brat? Why hasn't he appeared yet? I can't wait. How do you think he'll die? Since it's a life wager by alchemy, then is it possible for me to kill him however I want? First, cut off the tendons in his limbs. Let him suffer for a while. Then, drain his blood, dig out his internal organs, and feed his corpse to the dogs. What do you think? Eorong's face did not change as he smiled faintly. You decide, you don't need to ask me. However, her heart was trembling. Although she seemed calm on the surface, she was very nervous inside. She now wished that Long Fei would not appear. Yuan Shan said, Senior Brother Yin, did you also die like this after losing? Chang Feng laughed out loud and said, Junior Brother Yu, do you think that's possible? Yuan Shan laughed. Maybe not. Chang Feng sneered. Why hasn't he appeared yet? He admitted defeat? Or was he afraid of hiding in the dog hole? It can't be. Isn't he very arrogant? I heard that he went to the martial pavilion to borrow alchemy technique. With his talent, he should be very powerful, at least a few rank of alchemy master, right? At this time, an elder said in a low voice, that day, he went crazy in the mountains. It was as though he had gone mad. Ha! Yi Changfeng immediately laughed out loud. Laugh at your sister. At this moment, a voice rang out. Long Fei. Everyone in the plaza all turned to look, and even Yi Yurong turned to look at Long Fei. Long Fei's face was filled with stains. His hair was in a mess. His face was pale. His eyes were black. His dark circles were like a panda. He looked extremely tired. He didn't look very good, just like a street beggar whose body had been hollowed out. Pucci. Huh? Ha. Is he a human or a ghost? Is it a ghost? In 3 days, he turned himself into a ghost. Isn't this too amazing? Laughing my ass off. Long Fei's appearance was indeed ugly. Yi Yurong's face sank, walked forward, and said, How did you become like this? Long Fei grinned and said, You didn't eat or sleep for 3 days and 3 nights, and you are even constantly exhausting your mental energy to such an extent, damn. Long Fei did not want to either. He didn't have time to sort himself out, because he couldn't wait. They couldn't wait to kill Yi Changfeng. At this moment, Xiao Dai, Qing Niu, Thin Monkey, and the big size man all caught up. Boss, wait for me. Yi Yurong's heart shook even more when he saw them, and couldn't help but ask, What happened to them? Long Fei rolled her eyes at him, and said, Is the medicinal pellet I gave you useless? Yi Yurong was stunned for a moment before replying honestly, I thought it was rabbit poop. Long Fei said, Damn, you don't even believe in your man. Yi Changfeng walked over and laughed coldly. Brat, stop stalling for time. Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Fei immediately interrupted him and said, Delay your sister. Don't F***K with lousy. Go on stage. Your father's broadsword is unable to endure the thirst. Chapter 2306, I can do whatever you want with me. Chapter 2306, I can do whatever you want with me. He had not eaten or slept for 3 days and 3 nights. His eyes were dark, and he had refined them into panda eyes. Long Fei herself almost went crazy. Unless it was a moment of life or death, he swore that he would never crazily train his alchemy and proficiency again in the future. It was simply too tiring. Now, he just wanted it to end earlier, because he was really sleepy and really hungry. Hurry, stop wasting time. Long Fei walked towards the stage in big strides. Yi Changfeng sneered. You want to die so quickly? All right, then I'll grant you your wish. And then, Yi Changfeng looked at Yi Yurong and said, Yurong, what I said earlier was still valid. Kneel down and apologize to me in front of everyone. Hand over the positions of the Xianyu Underworld Wheel and Young Sectmaster, and I will spare his life. Yi Changfeng was completely confident. Alchemy versus Long Fei? It was too simple. Yi Yurong's heart sank. She was not confident. However, without waiting for her to speak, Long Fei turned and cursed, Fuck you. Are you F***king competing? If you don't want to compete, then scram for lousy. Kowtow and apologize? Is your head full of shit, or did you not wake up from your sleep? The entire group fell silent. Everyone looked at Long Fei in unison, their faces filled with astonishment. Scolding the great elder, he pointed at his own nose and cursed. Isn't this a little too arrogant? Damn, he's really gone crazy. Even if you want to die, that's not the case. Great elder is amazing? Can't you scold him? With Long Fei's character, not to mention the great clan elder, even if the old heavenly emperor was in front of him, he would still scold his 18 generations of ancestors, even if he was displeased. Yi Changfeng's face darkened and shouted, You dog, I'll definitely kill you with my own hands. Long Fei said, You want to kill me? Then don't say anything. Hurry up and get me on the pill bed. 3 days ago, you should have died. If you live to see tomorrow's sun, I will write Long Fei backwards. Extreme arrogance. Yi Yurong looked at Long Fei, and even she started to have doubts in her heart. Why? Why was Long Fei so arrogant? If he was competing with alchemy, and Yi Changfeng was also a 7-rating alchemist, how could he win? There was no chance of winning at all. Yu Wanshan also asked in bewilderment, This brat. He's really crazy, but is this really okay? It's a competition of alchemy. At this time, Xiao Dai walked over and said in a low voice, Sister Yi, It's all right, Along is very strong. Thin Monkey said, definitely. The big guy grinned and said, that's our boss. As for the green ox, it let out a loud moo. Eorong looked at Xiao Dai and the others. Their injuries were all serious, and they could not recover in a short period of time, but they had all recovered as if they were people who had not been injured. Just when Eorong wanted to ask, Yi Changfeng shouted out, set the stage. Enter the pill stage. His voice shook. The disciple of Powder Pavilion shouted in unison, go up, up, down. 2 moving pill platforms were pushed out. Yi Changfeng looked at Long Fei and said sinisterly, this time, I will definitely kill you. Boom! Yi Changfeng's figure moved, he leapt up, and in the blink of an eye, landed on the tall stage. His eyes turned sinister, and the chi around his body suddenly changed, becoming blazing. He was an alchemy genius. The aura around him changed upon stepping onto the pill platform. This kind of person was born for alchemy. Around 60 years old, 7-rank alchemy great grandmasters. There were not many of them in the entire Zhenwu continent. Once news of him breaking through to the 7th grade spread out, there would definitely be many big sects that would invite him, even the Zhao family. Come up and die, Yi Changfeng bellowed. Long Fei hugged his fists, with his joints bursting out. He said disdainfully, we'll find out who it is after they die. He was prepared to step onto the stage. At this time, Eorong walked over to Long Fei's side and whispered a few words into his ear. Long Fei's eyes darkened. He turned to look at Yi Changfeng. Sage T, aren't you being too ruthless? And then, Long Fei said to Eorong, if I win this time. Eorong revealed a charming and moving smile. That smile could hook a person's soul, and it was too captivating. She blew lightly towards Long Fei, and her voice sounded a little coy, saying, you win. I'll let you do whatever you want with me. Gudong. Initially, when he saw Eorong's charming smile, he was already a little unable to control himself. In the end, when he said, I'll do whatever you want with it, even more so, it caused his imagination to run wild. However, the scene where he turned over in his bed and fought for several days and nights. That's what you said. Long Fei seemed to have already forgotten what happened last time. Immediately, Long Fei's eyes flashed with a bright light. His entire body was as if he had been injected with chicken blood as he walked up the pill stage with big steps. The 2 platforms were 10 meters apart and 8 meters tall. In a superior position, there was a kind of fighting style in the movies. Yi Changfeng sneered. This little disciple doesn't know his place. Competing with me in alchemy, today I will let you know what alchemy is. Long Fei could not wait any longer and said, stop talking like that. Aren't you annoyed? Hurry up and start. I still have important things to do. Don't waste my time. His expression did not even look at Yi Changfeng. It was as if he didn't care at all. This made Yi Changfeng even more unhappy. However, he was a 7-rating alchemist, and the anger in his heart had surged, but he had slightly calmed down. At this time, an elder came out and said, the spirit grass are already placed in front of you. Use them to refine a spirit pill. Remember, you only have one chance. There is only one set of spirit grass in front of them, and it was only enough to concoct a single pill. If there was any mistake, or if there was a furnace explosion, there would be no chance at all. Yi Changfeng laughed coldly. Brat, don't say that I am bullying you. You can choose a few more spirit grass. This way, you can wait until the furnace explodes and the spirit liquid will be used to spray out. Anyway, you're definitely going to lose today. He wanted to let Long Fei make a fool of himself. It was just that. Long Fei looked at the 6 or 7 spirit grass on the stage, which were all of high quality. His eyes shone with a golden light, as if he had never seen spirit grass in his entire life. Holy T, I'm rich. So many spirit grass. Long Fei was about to drool. He had been refining wildflowers for 3 days now. How could he not be excited when he suddenly saw high-leveled spirit grass? Yi Changfeng disdained. Bastard. The audience also burst into laughter. Looking at his appearance, he must have never seen such a high-level spirit grass before. Idiot. Trash is trash. We're definitely going to lose. Get the hell out of here. Yurong looked at Long Fei and started to get nervous. Does he even know alchemy? Yuan Shan's palms could not help but break out in cold sweat. Out of everyone present, perhaps only Xiao Dai and the others remained calm and collected because they knew clearly in their hearts that Long Fei's alchemy technique was too strong. A single pill that didn't look like much could cure all the pain on their bodies. Even Yi Changfeng couldn't do it. The presided elder's voice sank, and he said, "The competition begins." Chapter 2307, Lightning Like Profound Handle. Chapter 2307, Lightning Like Profound Handle. As soon as he finished, Yi Changfeng summoned his own spirit treasure level pill furnace. This was a spirit artifact. An Earth-grade spirit artifact had an enormous power of fusion. It was extremely helpful for controlling the spirit liquid, as it could help in condensing and fusing the spirit grass's attributes. This kind of alchemy and spirit artifacts were extremely rare. If they competed with each other in the same realm, then having one more spiritual tool would increase their chances of winning by a lot. Just like two cultivators of the same realm competing in battle, the higher the level of one's cultivation technique, the greater the chance of winning. Usually, Yi Changfeng rarely used it. However, this time, he wanted to completely crush Long Fei to the ground so that he couldn't get up. He wanted to crush him to death. It's a spirit treasure pill furnace. Rainbow pill furnace. Do you see the 7 different color gems on it? That's the key. He even used a spirit treasure pill furnace. It seems like the Great Elder is really angry this time. This kid is dead for sure. Defeat without a doubt. He was originally a 7 rating alchemist, and now that he had even used a spirit artifact pill furnace, his victory was certain. Many elders had smiles on their faces. Amongst the crowd, Zhao Yitian was also extremely pleased with himself. Looking at Long Fei, who was on the stage, he said excitedly, "Let's see how you die today." Other than the spiritual tool furnace, there were a few more spirit grass on the table with Yi Changfeng. These were rank 8 spirit grass. With these spirit grass, his chances of winning would be even greater. Everyone looked at Yi Changfeng, who was on the pellet stage, and watched him choose his spirit grass. Every movement he made would attract a large wave of cheers. It was as if these people were actors who had just taken care of them. It was making a deafening noise as it tried to disturb Long Fei. Xiao Dai could not help but ask, "Aren't these people being a little too infuriating?" "They will affect a long, thin monkey," also said angrily. "These people are all disciples of the Pill Pavilion." The big guy said, "Great Elder must be scared." The surrounding people looked at the big guy as if he was a monster. The Elders Guild was afraid? What a joke. Yi Changfeng pretended to be deep in thought and said slightly, "Disciples of the Pill Pavilion, look carefully. I will personally demonstrate to you today what kind of Heaven Flame pill you will refine. Heaven Fire pill, grade 7 pill. After consuming it, one's true essence will be like fire. The true chi will become even more violent, and one's strength will increase tremendously. Wow, the Grand Elder is too powerful. Great Elder is mighty." Many of the elders were secretly surprised. A grade 7 pill was not something that anyone could refine. Moreover, the strength of a grade 7 pill was simply too strong. "All right, look carefully. I'm starting." Yi Changfeng slightly moved. At this moment, Long Fei said softly and said, "About that, there's something that I don't know whether or not I should say it to you." Yi Changfeng laughed coldly. "Do you have any last words to say?" Long Fei ruffled her messy hair and said, "I just want to ask, you haven't started?" Yi Changfeng said with a face of disdain, "Before alchemy, you should have clearly understood the spirit grass's attribute. Then think about what kind of pellet these spirit grass can be refined into. Blindly refining will only waste spirit grass. You are a bad example. Everyone must remember it." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei laughed and said, "You understand the spirit grass's attribute? You knew it a few days ago, didn't you? This place is filled with your people. Do you not know what kind of spirit grass there are?" Yi Changfeng's eyes became angry, and she said, Impudent. Do you still need to cheat in order to win? That presided elders also said slightly, Long Fei, this is a fair match. If you continue to speak nonsense and disturb Elder Yi's alchemy, I can directly make you lose. Long Fei still had a smile on his face and asked, Fair competition? It doesn't matter. Judge, I just want to talk to you. I'm done refining. While speaking, a spirit pill that did not look too good appeared in Long Fei's hand. The entire audience was stunned. Everyone looked at Long Fei. Even Yi Changfeng was secretly startled and immediately shouted, Impossible. Presided Elders was also stunned and couldn't help but ask, When did you successfully refine it? You? Why are there no fewer spirit grass S in front of you? It's fake. He's cheating. Damn, is he here to make a fool of himself? The forging was done in a few minutes. Are you here to tease me? There isn't a single spirit grass missing. Is this also called alchemy? Can you have some brains? Yi Changfeng's heart loosened. Seeing the spirit pellet in Long Fei's hand, he could not help but laugh. Is that a spirit pellet? Are you sure it's not animal excrement? The crowd burst into laughter. Long Fei did not mind and picked up the remaining half of the spirit grass and said, I used half of the spirit grass, but actually the so-called alchemy does not need to be a high-level spirit grass. As long as you can completely grasp its attribute and perfectly display its spirit liquid, it will be fine. Yi Changfeng mocked. A type of spirit grass alchemy? Ha ha ha, ridiculous. How could a type of spirit grass spirit liquid form a pill without the help of other spirit grass? What was the value of a spiritual pill, just one type of spiritual liquid? Brat, you don't even know what alchemy is. Moreover, the pill in your hand is called a pill. You don't even have a pill furnace by your side. How did you refine that pill? Discuss pill refining with me? You're not qualified at all. At this moment, Long Fei once again placed the other half of the spirit grass on his palm. With the surge of the true qi, a faint flame started to burn on the palm of his hand. Long Fei smiled and said, Did you see that? I've finished another one. Grand Elder, please hurry up. At this moment, Yi Changfeng's eyes darkened. As previous actions, he had never seen one before. There had never been such a method of alchemy in the Zhanwu continent. Not using furnace alchemy? Using only his palm? It was impossible. No one could withstand the heat of the pill fire, and Long Fei took almost an instant to finish refining it. The control of the spirit liquid required time, and fusing the spirit liquid also required time, which was definitely not something that could be done in a few seconds. Impossible. Yi Changfeng was secretly shocked in his heart. Eorong's eyes flashed. What technique is this? Yuan Shan scratched his head. Damn, isn't that too fast? All of the disciples present were even more stupefied. Even the disciples of the Pill Pavilion could not understand. How could one pellet be used for such a short period of time? Grand Elder, can you hurry? So boring. Long Fei picked up another spirit grass, and it moved, secretly using its power. Actually, Long Fei was not using his palm's alchemy at all, but the entire world. The heaven and earth became the furnace. It was naturally fire. Using this kind of power to nurture all living things to enter alchemy, this technique was simply too profound. I've finished another one. Grand Elder, hurry up. Do you know alchemy? Then, I've finished another one. Can you hurry? Awesome, domineering. Yi Changfeng was panicking completely, and he had become an idiot. Chapter 2308. Chapter 2308. Grand Elder, why don't you hurry? Can you hurry? Aren't you being too low? F***CK. You're still using your alchemy? Or a great master of alchemy? Bullshit. As Long Fei spoke, he refined another pill. It looked like a magic trick. He extended his hand and took out a pill, causing everyone to feel dizzy. All of them opened their eyes wide, wanting to see how Long Fei's pill was refined. However, his eyeballs were about to pop out of their sockets, but even he was unable to see clearly how the pill was made. It was too strange. He had never seen this kind of alchemy before. Eorong looked at Long Fei and muttered, Does he really know alchemy? Xiao Dai giggled and said, Sister E, how are you? Along must be very powerful. Thin Monkey's face was filled with worship. The boss is too mighty. From today onwards, you are my idol. The big guy just smiled like an idiot. A few of the elders had somewhat ugly expressions. Seeing Yi Changfeng, who was not moving at all on the stage, feeling flustered, they couldn't help but think in their hearts. The presided elders slightly shouted, "Long Fei, refine your pill. Don't disturb the great clan elder." There is no time limit to this competition. The winner will be decided by the grade of the pill you refine. He was stopping Long Fei. At the same time, he was also reminding the flustered Yi Changfeng to calm down. This competition was about the quality of medicinal pills, not speed. In the blink of an eye, Long Fei had refined a pill. It was like magic. Are you asking if you're panicking? Yi Changfeng panicked a little, but still, hearing presided elders' words, the panic in his heart immediately disappeared as he looked at the pills Long Fei had refined. They all looked terrible. Pills with this grade of difference were usually divided into two types. One was a failed pill. The other was a pill without a rank. No matter which one it was useless. The corner of Yi Changfeng's mouth curled up slightly as he sneered. Even you know alchemy? Umph. I'll let you know what alchemy is. As soon as he finished, Yi Changfeng made his move. Next, a spirit grass flew in the air, releasing true qi. The flames inside the multicolored pill furnace suddenly rose up. Unknowingly, Yi Changfeng's body released a powerful aura. He's making his move. The great elder has made his move. A 7th grade alchemy grandmaster is indeed extraordinary. To burn the fire to such a high point right from the start. Is the difficulty of refining the heaven flame pill the secret? Wow, so cool. He had to say it. Yi Changfeng's alchemy was an extremely experienced technique. His control over the fire and his grasp over the spirit liquid could be said to have reached the pinnacle. The 7-rating alchemist was not here for nothing. Yurong secretly frowned. The Heaven Flame pill is a 7th grade pill. This competition is a pill's grade. Then Long Fei. She now believed that Long Fei could use alchemy. However, it was a test of the pill's grade. How could it be compared with a grade 7 pill? Yurong started to worry in his heart once again. Yu Wanshan also frowned and said in a low voice, Yi Changfeng's attainments with the alchemy is extraordinary. The level of power 7-rating alchemist has displayed so vividly. I'm afraid. He did not continue. The disciples of the Pill Pavilion were once again in an uproar. Brat, do you know what alchemy is? Did you see it clearly? Have you learned it? Competing with our great clan elder for alchemy. You have lived for too long. Disciple of Powder Pavilion vented his resentment. Long Fei stood on top of the pill stage and watched the process of Yi Changfeng's alchemy. He was also carefully observing it, and after pausing for a moment, he no longer watched. What a waste. Fantastic, useless. Moreover, the control over the elixir was too poor. In Long Fei's eyes, Yi Changfeng's alchemy process could find at least 100 loopholes, and he could not look straight at them at all. 10 minutes passed. Yi Changfeng tightened the center of his brows and lightly shouted, "Okay." The fire in the furnace suddenly went out. After pausing for a moment, the fragrance of the spirit liquid wafted out. The entire plaza could smell the delicate fragrance of the spirit pills, and it made one feel refreshed. It's a success. This pill, isn't that great? Just by smelling the fragrance, I feel like my body is brimming with true essence. I feel like I'm about to break through. Too awesome. Countless praises. Yurong's gaze grew even more tense as he said, "Such a rich fragrance. This medicinal pellet's grade is not low at all." Yu Wanshan looked at Long Fei, who was on the stage, and sighed while shaking his head. The difference is too great. After all, he had only just started cultivating the alchemy technique. He simply did not grasp the essence of alchemy at all. Wu Yi added, "That's right. The difference between the two is too great. The pills refined by Long Fei don't even smell the slightest bit of good, and Yi Changfeng's pills. Sigh. This world had a very traditional understanding of alchemy. The quality of the pill was directly related to its ability to emit the fragrance of elixirs. The fragrance assaulted his nostrils and was extremely dense. This pill could be said to be extremely successful, and its grade was also extremely high. Yi Changfeng said with a face full of pride, "Brat, did you see it clearly?" While they were talking, Yi Changfeng opened the lid of the pill furnace. Wisps of green smoke rose into the air, and suddenly, the entire plaza was filled with fragrant waterfalls. The fragrance of the spirit liquid was extremely rich, as if it was some kind of secret world. Everyone in the plaza was even more shocked. But, ha, ha ha, Long Face suddenly laughed out loud. Yi Changfeng's eyes darkened. At this time, a disciple of Powder Pavilion immediately shouted in anger. "Trash, what are you laughing at?" Long Face said, "I'm laughing at Great Elder for acting like a fool. Moreover, I don't even know what it means when you speak of alchemy. To dare mock our master, I think you must be tired of living." Another disciple scolded. "I think he thinks he's lost and wants to make a ruckus. There's no need to watch this match. That kid lost. This alchemy gambles with your life. Kid, hand over your life." Many of the disciple of Powder Pavilion S became more arrogant and wished that they could charge in front of Long Fei and skin him alive. Yi Changfeng sneered. "I don't understand alchemy? In the entire Xianyu sect, is there anyone who knows alchemy better than me?" Long Fei said, "Not only do you not understand, you are also a pile of dog shit." An affront to Yi Changfeng. This was the greatest humiliation. The anger in his heart burst forth. Yi Changfeng clenched his teeth and shouted, "You're courting death." Long Fei was not afraid in the slightest. He sneered and said, "Since you claim that you are a 7-rating alchemist, then let me ask you, how do you judge the quality of a medicinal pellet?" Yi Changfeng sneered. "Of course it's because of the pill's attribute." Long Fei asked again, "And what will determine the attribute?" Yi Changfeng said, "Is that true? If even the alchemy disciples know, of course it's the density of the spirit liquid." "Yo, you still know?" Long Fei disdainfully said, "In the process of refining, the spirit liquid from dozens of spirit grass would be lost by 90%, and you only have a grasp of 10%. If you aren't trash, then what are you? And everyone here is a bunch of trash. Do you think that just because the fragrance is rich, it's amazing? You idiot, this was caused by the loss of the spirit liquid. Do you think only you know alchemy? You don't know shit." Chapter 2309. Who Wins and Who Loses? Chapter 2309. Who Wins and Who Loses? It was a fierce scolding. He didn't show any mercy at all. Most of the people present were inwardly enraged, especially the disciple of Powder Pavilion, who was extremely angry. How many days had Long Fei cultivated his alchemy for? Why did he have to teach them a lesson? Not to mention, he had taught them a lesson, as well as the great elder of the Pill Pavilion. Everyone looked at Yi Changfeng. They all wanted to see him fight back. It was just that, at this time, Yi Changfeng's mind tensed up. His mind kept repeating what Long Fei had just said. Everything regarding the spirit pellets must be attributed to the spirit liquid. Maximizing the control over the elixir is the best elixir. Spirit liquid control. Yi Changfeng's heart was filled with dissatisfaction. In all these years, he had never thought about the matter of controlling the spirit liquid, nor did he ever think that the fragrance of the spirit liquid would be related to the loss of the spirit liquid. 7-rating alchemist, he felt that he didn't know anything. At the same time, his heart was in displeasure because these words came from Long Fei. It was to teach him a lesson. Why? Yi Changfeng screamed in his heart. Why not? He, a brat who cultivates alchemy technique for 3 days, what right does he have to teach me a lesson? What qualifications did he have? I made more pills than he saw. I am a 7-rating alchemist. What does he count as? And then, Yi Changfeng became angry from the embarrassment and shouted in a heavy tone. What kind of bullshit are you talking about? What rank of alchemy master are you, and what qualifications do you have to lecture me? In this world, in the entire universal large world, who could do it without losing a single bit of spirit liquid? Even God's tribe's alchemy masters would not be able to do it. Zhang Xian suppressed the rage in his heart. The arrogance of 7 rating alchemist. The surrounding disciple of Powder Pavilion immediately agreed. Yeah, who do you think you are? What rank is your alchemy master? What qualifications do you have to teach us a lesson? Can you do it? At this time, Long Fei casually picked up a spirit grass and said, I can do it. As soon as he finished, Long Fei's mind stirred as a strong power began to surge. The world is the furnace, and naturally, the world is the fire. The release of his subconscious alchemy technique could be said to have reached an unprecedented level of control over the spirit liquid in the spirit grass. He did not know what this method was called. He didn't know why he had this kind of alchemy in his head either. However, he was very clear in his heart that this kind of alchemy technique was thousands of times more powerful than that of the Zhenwu continent. The limitless true qi started to surge crazily, forming waves after waves of flames that wrapped around the spirit liquid and poured down continuously. At the same time, Long Fei's mind was completely poured into the spirit liquid, entering a state of selflessness. Slowly, all the spirit liquid within the spirit grass was released and slowly formed under the control of Long Fei. During this process, not a single drop of the spirit liquid's fragrance leaked out. Yi Changfeng stared at the spirit grass on Long Fei's palm. He was extremely shocked. He began to look down on them. But now, in his heart, however, he was as shocked and astounded as a shocking wave. How did he do it when he didn't even have a cauldron? Impossible. There is no such thing as an alchemy technique in this world. It is simply impossible. Yi Changfeng did not believe it. Alchemy was not something to be cultivated. It was not something that could be done just by relying on one's talent. It was something that needed to be accumulated through experience. Long Fei had only cultivated the alchemy technique for 3 days. No matter how much more talent he had, he would not be able to refine any medicinal pellets. Of course, Yi Changfeng simply did not know what Long Fei had experienced in his previous life. What had he experienced in the world of dragon coffin cultivation? How many times had he trained with alchemy technique? Insufficient experience? Even if 10 Yi Changfeng-s were added together, they would still not be able to compare to Long Fei. Done. After a few seconds, Long Fei drank a mouthful of water. A pill that did not look very good was formed, but it did not emit any heat at all. Long Fei said in disdain, "Did you see it clearly?" Yi Changfeng maintained a calm expression and sneered. "That is alchemy? I think it's just a child playing house. Do you think using the true qi to force the spirit liquid out and condensing it into a pill is the only way? Kid, you're still too inexperienced. If not for this alchemy competition being a gamble, I would be willing to accept you as my disciple." What a pity, what a pity. Presided elders walked up and asked, "Have you guys finished refining it? All right. The referee, please decide who among you two has the highest quality pills and who will win." The 2 disciples walked onto the pill stage. "Which pill will you use in the competition?" A disciple asked. Long Fei looked at the dozen or so pellets he had refined and said, "Pick one yourself." That disciple's eyes were filled with disdain. He casually took one and walked off the pill platform. Yirong started to worry. It had to be said that Long Fei's alchemy competition this time was very beautiful. Others might not be able to see what he said, but she could clearly see that Yi Changfeng was deeply shocked. In this way, she was even more determined to protect Long Fei. The idea linked with the Xianyu underworld wheel and thought. After all, alchemy competition is about the quality of medicinal pellets. How can Yi Changfeng, a 7th-grade alchemy master, compete with him when refining a 7th-grade medicinal pellet? However, I will definitely guarantee that you won't die. She was ready for everything. At the same time, Zhao Yiqian said coldly, "Seems like my sister-in-law is going to take the risk. Pass down my orders. As long as Yirong makes a move, we will immediately dispatch our disciples of the elite hall and kill that bastard Long Fei first." Similarly, Yi Changfeng had also made all the necessary preparations. Whether he won or lost, he was prepared for it. Riot, force Yurong to give up his position. Yi Changfeng leisurely walked down the pill platform, full of confidence. Long Fei also walked down. 2 pills were delivered to the judge's seat. The referee team was composed of 3 elders with the highest qualifications. The 3 of them appraised Yi Changfeng's Heaven Fire pill. Spirit fragrance pours into my nose. The true qi is thick. It also has a powerful fire attribute. It can double the power of a fire attribute cultivation method. That's right. The Heaven Flame pill is indeed worthy of its reputation. This pill can be considered a top grade 7th medicinal pill. The 3 elders said indifferently. The audience was excited. Kid, do you hear me? High grade 7 medicinal pills. Haha. Prepare to die. High grade 7th grade, too powerful. Even many of the elders had become excited, especially some of the fire elders, whose faces were filled with shock, as if they wanted to kneel in front of Yi Changfeng. Yi Changfeng revealed a proud smile and thought, Kid, are you going to fight with me? Your little life is going to end today. Long Fei stood in place without moving an inch. Yurong held onto the Xianyu underworld wheel tightly, secretly accumulating his energy, preparing to attack at any time. The 3 elders stood in front of Long Fei's medicinal pellets and carefully evaluated them. A few minutes passed. The expressions on the 3 of them turned increasingly grim. Chapter 23:10 8-Level Alchemy Man. Chapter 23:10 8-Level Alchemy Man. The 3 of them had serious expressions on their faces. The space between his eyebrows tightened. From time to time, he would shake his head and show signs of shock. After a few minutes, the 3 of them still didn't say anything. They were both shocked and confused. What's going on? It must be because the medicinal pill this kid refined is too trashy. Definitely, firm determination this kind of medicinal pellet is a kind of insult. That kid is insulting the alchemy realm. Just announce the results. Just what is going on with this pill that even the referee elder is unable to make it out? Discussions broke out in the plaza. The 3 elders did not have much power. Their cultivation was not very high, and they did not know much about alchemy, but they had a unique grasp on the quality of the firm pellets. They were also pill appraisers. But now, they actually didn't say a word? What did that mean? Appraisal level not high enough? Or this pill was too trashy? Was it an insult to an appraiser? Yuan Shan was a little impatient. 3 elders. You can say whatever you want to say. Several elders of the Pill Pavilion also said, it's fine if we directly announce the result. I want to see how arrogant this brat is. Yurong also said slightly, if there's anything to say, then say it. Yi Changfeng said, go ahead. He had a smile on his face. He did not bribe the 3 elders because he did not need to bribe them. He was certain that he would win this match, so why would he need to bribe the referee? Cough, cough. A white-haired elder coughed and looked at Long Fei seriously, then said, forgive me for my bluntness, but I have never seen this kind of pill before. Before he could finish his words, the disciples of the Pill Pavilion started laughing loudly. Ha! Trash! The medicinal pills that are refined are naturally trash. What the hell is this? Why are you still teaching us a lesson? The smile on Yi Changfeng's face became even wider. The elder pressed his hands together and continued. I have indeed never seen this kind of pill before, but the grade of this pill. At this point, the 3 of them looked at each other, exchanging glances. The other 2 elders nodded. The white-haired elder said, it should be above rank 8. As soon as he finished, the entire square was shaken as thousands of people instantly quieted down. The place was completely silent. Even a pin drop could be heard. Yi Changfeng did not know how to react. His expression still had a faint, confident smile, but his smile was a little stiff, and his expression slowly started to twist. Zhao Etian was also dumbfounded. Immediately, he jumped up and cursed. Old thing, did you see it clearly? Grade 8 spirit pill. Why didn't you say that the pill he refined was a godly pill? I think the 3 of you are muddle-headed. Zhao Etian's angry voice fell. Many disciples of the Pill Pavilion immediately shouted out, impossible! Just am refining a grade 8 pill. Why didn't you go up into the sky? You want us to believe you? Tier 8 pills? Are you sure you're not dizzy? Grade 8 medicinal pill. What does that mean? An existence that one wouldn't even dare to imagine. Even in the entire 8-level alchemy, man, there were only a handful of people who managed to produce a pill of the 8th rank. How is that possible? Moreover, what did the white-haired elder say? 8th grade and above. In other words, it wasn't just a tier 8 pill. It could even be a tier 9 pill or an earth stage pill. Yi Changfeng's face became ugly, his eyes staring straight at Yurong. Yurong also had a stupefied expression. She couldn't react in time. Grade 8 medicinal pill? Yurong muttered, "Is that possible?" She couldn't believe it. Xiao Dai giggled. Sister Long is strong, right? Yesterday, he gave us 3 pills, and our injuries immediately healed. Thin Monkey said, "Boss is overbearing." Yurong looked at Xiao Dai and the others with mixed feelings. She suspected Long Fei at one point, and thought that he did not know any alchemy at all. She was going to take the pill Long Fei gave her in front of the rabbit poop. However, she turned out to be wrong. The mistake was outrageous. Their hearts were very upset, as they had no solution for Long Fei. Yurong looked at Long Fei, who was standing in the middle of the crowd. That kind of calm and unperturbed look on his face was just like a divine-level powerhouse. Long Fei looked at Yurong and asked, "How is it? Your man is handsome, isn't he?" Yurong's face turned cold. She stared straight at Long Fei, then released her true chi, causing a voice to crash down. "What are you making such a ruckus for? You want a rebel." A powerful aura crushed down. The audience immediately quieted down. Yurong walked up to them and asked, "3 elders, have you appraised it clearly? What rank is it?" Seeing that Yurong had calmed down, the white-haired elder said, "I will use my head as a guarantor that this pellet's grade definitely surpasses the 8th rank. Because the 3 of us are only at the 8th rank in appraising techniques, we are unable to appraise its exact number." Yurong's heart relaxed, and he thought to himself, "What a guy." In the distance, Gue Qingshan, who had just returned, was also greatly shocked in his heart. He can actually refine pellets that surpass the 8th rank? Good, huh? At this moment, one of them had a livid expression on his face and looked extremely ugly. It was like eating shit. Yi Changfeng bellowed, "I refuse to accept this. Who does he think he is? Refining a grade 8 pill? What is his rank as an alchemy master? I suspect that all of you are colluding together." Yurong. "Oh, Yurong, I have truly underestimated you. I didn't expect you to actually do this to me." Yi Changfeng was extremely angry. Not just him. All the disciples of Powder Pavilion S were unwilling to accept this outcome. There were also many supporters of Yi Changfeng who were unconvinced. Many of them were elders who held important positions. They couldn't accept it either. Yurong wanted to speak, but Long Fei pulled her behind him, like he was protecting his wife, and laughed. "Yi Changfeng, you don't admit defeat, right? Your 7-rating alchemist is awesome. What rank is my alchemy master? I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you, my 8-level alchemy man." As soon as he finished, the entire audience was in an uproar. Yurong, who was protected behind Long Fei, was immediately startled. Looking at Long Fei's back figure, his heart suddenly had a sense of worship. 8-level alchemy man. Yi Changfeng laughed coldly. "You say that an 8th grade treasure is only 8th grade? Who would believe it?" Long Fei laughed. "I knew you wouldn't believe it." While they were talking, Long Fei walked to the front of a black stone in the pill pavilion. This was a stone used to test the level of an alchemy master. Next, the black stone began to shine brightly and climbed up one by one. Finally, it stopped at the 8th position. 8-level alchemy man. Yi Changfeng was dumbfounded. Long Fei turned to look at him, smiled slightly, and said, "Did you see it clearly? I endured you for 3 days. I almost went crazy. Now, give me your life." Chapter 23:11. Death of Those Who Block Me. Chapter 23:11. Death of Those Who Block Me. The Blackstone's examination could not be wrong. The appearance of the 8-level alchemy man had ignited the entire audience. Disciple of Powder Pavilion was stunned. Zhang Lai was stunned. Even Yurong, Yuan Shan, and the others were shocked by Long Fei's 8th-stage alchemy technique. Yi Changfeng had a stupefied look on his face as his body swayed uncontrollably. He continuously shook his head and said, "Impossible, impossible, absolutely impossible. How could you be 8-level alchemy man? You have only cultivated the alchemy technique for 3 days. Even Powerhouse of God's Tribe would not be able to do it. You're cheating. You're definitely cheating. You guys are cheating together." In 3 days, he had turned from an ignorant person into an 8-level alchemy man. No one would believe it, even if it was leaked. It was like a miracle. Moreover, for a 20-year-old 8-level alchemy man, if word of this got out, the entire continent would be shaken. Not to mention the Zhao family, even the Magic Tribe, and the other nations would come and imprison Long Fei. A 16-year-old 8-level alchemy man. His future accomplishments were unimaginable. Yi Changfeng could not accept this. It was also because he had trained hard for 60 years to reach the level of a level 7 Grandmaster. But what about Long Fei? 3 days. 3 days later, he stomped on the alchemy technique that he was so proud of and ferociously trampled on it. The alchemy that he was talking about had completely surpassed him. He had lost this battle thoroughly and thoroughly. However, yet he did not know what Long Fei had paid. 3 days. Last night, in order to break through the 8th stage, he had even released the alchemy technique of the heaven and earth is the stove. Naturally, it is fire every time, making him succeed every time he refined it. His hands moved in unison, and every time he succeeded, he would raise the proficiency by 6 points. The speed of his breakthrough was increased by 6 times, which was why he had broken through to the 8th level this morning. It seemed like an entire night. However, Long Fei's mental strength was on the verge of collapse, and his body could no longer hold on. It was too uncomfortable. He couldn't bear it even once, but he had endured the entire night. This sort of pain was unbearable for ordinary people, but he is Long Fei. He knew in his heart that if one wasn't ruthless, one wouldn't be able to stand steadily. If he wanted to stand firmly, he would have to go all out. There was only one goal in his mind, which was to stomp Yi Changfeng to death. While they were talking, Yi Changfeng was also continuously retreating, because the referee announced that he had lost. In this alchemy competition, he was betting his life. The loser would die. He didn't want to die. He was afraid of death. He was now the 7 rating alchemist, and his status was even more noble and noble. As long as he survived, the sect of Infinitas would invite him to become an elder of the Pill Pavilion. The Zhao family would also invite him to become an advisor to the Zhao family. His life in the future would definitely be even more glorious. Long Fei pressed closer step by step and said, "Elder Yi, do you want to run? Damn you. Did you know that I almost became crazy just for today? Hurt my brother? Bully my sister? From the moment you attacked, your life no longer belonged to you." Long Fei's eyes turned sinister, and the anger that was sealed within his body 3 days ago burst forth. Fortunately, he had learned alchemy technique. Otherwise, Xiao Dai and the others were in danger. This time, he would never let such a thing happen again. Bam! 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 Faster! The wind under Long Fei's feet also caused the sky sword to move slightly at the same time. Buzz! The sword hummed. Eorong's face recovered. Seeing Long Fei rushing up to him, he immediately shouted, "Long Fei, stop!" At the same time, Eorong ran over with an astonishing speed. Yi Changfeng's face darkened as he shouted in a heavy tone, "You're cheating. You simply don't understand alchemy, and you aren't even from 8-level alchemy, man. You want to kill me? Humph! You dog! Are you even worthy?" Yi Changfeng bellowed and looked at the few elders behind him. Zhao Yiqian's eyes turned sinister. He did not care anymore. What are you waiting for? Protect the great clan elder and kill that cheating brat. Kill! As soon as he finished, an elder gritted his teeth and also threw caution to the wind. "Where's the disciples of the elite hall?" Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk amongst the crowd, those ordinary clothed disciples suddenly tore off their clothes, revealing the clothing of the elite disciples on them. Yuan Shan's face turned sinister. A conspiracy? Wu Yi's expression also changed greatly as he asked, "What exactly does this Yi Chang Feng want to do?" Yuan Shan took a step forward. "How can that be? I was afraid of you before because you were the great elder of the Pill Pavilion, and I could not lose you. However, with Long Fei here, you're no different from a seven-stage alchemy master." Yuan Shan had long hated Yi Chang Feng. Self-righteous. He was controlling the Pill Pavilion to threaten the Yuan. Moreover, taking over half of Xian Yu Sect's cultivation resources, many people were unhappy. They previously dared not say anything, but now the anger in Yuan Shan's heart had burst forth. You want to rebel? Then Laozi could start killing them in the name of the law. In addition, there was someone else behind him. A large wave of elite disciples rushed out, and with the addition of the disciples from the Pill Pavilion, over 1,000 of them rushed out in a formidable formation. Yi Chang Feng, who was protected within the crowd, laughed complacently. "Brat, you want to kill me? Let's see who will die first today." "Ha ha!" And then Yi Chang Feng shouted, "Everyone listen to me. I only want his life today and do not have anything to do with anyone. If anyone wants to stop me, they will be going against me, Yi Chang Feng. Don't think that this brat has alchemy. He doesn't even understand alchemy. He has always been cheating. Without my alchemy technique, you would simply be unable to obtain a single pellet." He wanted to intimidate the crowd. He was a 7th grade alchemy master, so they wouldn't believe him if he said anything else. However, many people believe him if he said that Long Fei didn't understand alchemy, because they all knew that alchemy was extremely difficult. It was impossible for a single person to reach 8-level alchemy man in 3 days. He must be cheating. Thus, at this moment, many people were still standing on Yi Chang Feng's side. They were worried about not having any pills. Seeing the crowd's expression, Yi Chang Feng was even more pleased in his heart. He knew that he had been intimidated and secretly clenched his fists tightly, lowering his voice. "Long Fei must die. We must kill him." Since Long Fei did not die, he had no value in the Xian Yu sect, because Yi Chang Feng was very clear that even if Long Fei cheated again, the Black Stone would not cheat. He really was the 8-level alchemy man. Such a person definitely could not live. He couldn't possibly live under the crushing pressure of a 16-year-old kid. Zhao Etian looked at the death soldiers. Immediately, the few death soldiers immediately rushed out. Long Fei was secretly shocked and muttered, "I really underestimated you. I never thought that you would create such a big scene. However, do you think you can escape death by doing this?" In that instant, Long Fei's mind stirred. Killing intent burst out, but at the same time, a strange light flashed on the sky sword. Long Fei pointed his long sword, and wherever the sword tip went, the sword chime would come from all directions, causing sword chi to sound. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.